Chapter 1519. Zongtian, Emperor Forsaken, the Fox King, and the heaven-punishing corpse god arrived at the same time. They instantly deterred the restless 12 demon monarchs and the 6 primes fighting the cyclic astral lord, the bright moon empress, and the myriad law fiend master. They all stopped in regret. The two sides met up and faced each other. Big brother, you came at the right time, Xiaochun thanked Zongtian. Zongtian smiled helplessly and said, "We are still too late. We have been guarding against a sneak attack from the 18 demon monarchs." Unexpectedly, the 18 demon monarchs would use the heavenly starry ocean as a breakthrough point and descend here. The 4 primes guarded their respective races and dealt with the aftermath. Back then, during the storm in the Blue Dragon Palace, when the 4 primes fought, their subordinates and friends fought even deeper battles because of their different stances. The damage they caused was extremely great. It took more than 2 months to deal with the aftermath before everything stabilized. At the same time, the 4 primes feared that the demons would take this opportunity to charge over. Hence, even though they found out about the chaotic situation in the heavenly starry ocean, they did not rush over immediately. After confirming that the 18 demon monarchs arrived in the heavenly starry ocean at the same time, they rushed over. That was not too late. At least, it gave Xiaochun a chance to catch his breath. Xiaochun's recovery ability was startling. The 4 primes could not defeat him in one go, and wanted to continue attacking him. The 12 demon monarchs were already injured in the first place, and would be exhausted to death. What's going on? The heaven-punishing corpse god asked in confusion when he saw the 18 demon monarchs standing behind the treasure master. The myriad law fiend master sighed and said, "He is the Dark Church's church master. He has been hiding in the heavenly starry ocean all this time. Today he truly exposed himself." Emperor Forsaken narrowed his eyes as he looked at the treasure master. "Your distinguished self really hid deeply. To think that you even managed to fool me." The treasure master smiled leisurely and said indifferently, "I have fooled many people before. You are not the first, nor will you be the last." "Humph. Very well. In that case, I will settle this debt today. Let's see how strong you, the Dark Church's churchmaster, are." The last time Emperor Forsaken fought the Dark Church's churchmaster, they only managed a draw. Today was the right time. You? You are still not a match for me. If not for me not wanting to expose my identity too early, I would have made it so that you would not be able to return last time. The treasure master laughed loudly, not caring much about Emperor Forsaken. Arrogant. Emperor Forsaken was enraged. He stretched out his hand and circulated the boundless power of faith. His body released rings of divine light as a huge deity finger pointed at the treasure master. "Impudent. How dare you disrespect the sect leader?" 3 figures flickered. The celestial demon monarch, the earth demon monarch, and the ice demon monarch stood in front of the treasure master, each making a move to block Emperor Forsaken's finger. Emperor Forsaken was slightly stunned. He did not expect his subordinate demon monarchs to be so loyal to the treasure master. "I feel that the space here is fluctuating greatly. This place seems to have become the port of a teleportation array. There will be a continuous stream of demon experts coming here." The cyclic astral lord, who was extremely sensitive to spatial formations, suddenly said softly with a frown. The Fox King continued, "Should we delay? The experts of the deity Dao Union, the Bushan Palace, and the Fiend Domain will arrive soon. At that time, we can capture all these demon monarchs and the treasure master in one fell swoop." Xiaochun's heart skipped a beat. This was gambling. If the experts of the demonic world arrived early, their group would be in trouble. On the other hand, if the reinforcements of the Kunlun continent arrived, the treasure master's side would definitely be at a disadvantage. However, could they afford to gamble now? As Xiaochun pondered, he suddenly discovered many gazes on him. It turned out that many primes were waiting for him to make a decision. "Xiaochun, what is your decision?" Zongtian asked, handing the decision to Xiaochun. "Let's retreat. I'm somewhat tired." This was not physical fatigue but mental fatigue, the fatigue of learning some truth. "Let's go." The 7 primes of the Kunlun realm worked together with Xiaochun, escorting Heaven Dragon Island as they retreated step by step. Without the treasure master's orders, The 18 demon monarchs did not dare to give chase. Churchmaster, should we stop them? Xing Wang, Fa Wang, and the experts of the demonic world will arrive soon, the celestial demon monarch said angrily as he looked at Xiaochen. The treasure master shook his head and said, "There's no need. The deity Dao Union, the Bushan Palace, and the Fiend Domain's army are all there to receive them. There's no rush. After the demonic god is summoned, no one can save the Kunlun realm." Churchmaster is wise, the 18 demon monarchs said with cupped fist salutes. No matter what they thought in their hearts, they did not dare to show any disrespect to the Dark Church's churchmaster, or rather, the treasure master on the surface. The worried hearts of the many Heavenly Star Island cultivators finally calmed down. With the 7 primes protecting them, Heavenly Star Island quickly flew into the clouds, carrying the last flame of the Heavenly Starry Ocean, and quickly heading for the Kunlun continent. With no one to disturb them, the operation of the formation became increasingly smoother. It flew along with the Blue Dragon auspicious cloud. Zongtian and the others followed behind unhurriedly, discussing something in soft voices. Most of their words were rather pessimistic. They discussed that the first thing to do after they returned was to move the ordinary people of the various races and the cultivators with lower cultivations to the back of Kunlun Mountain. The Kunlun mountain range spanned nearly the entire profound domain. At that time, as long as Kunlun Mountain was not broken through, these ordinary people and cultivators would be fine. As for the countless resources and cities facing the sea, they could only strategically give up on them. The Treasure Master's next attack would definitely be the decisive battle. The 17 immortal statues would be repaired once more, and their strength might even increase. At that time, it would be hard not to give up. Aside from Kunlun Mountain, the formations and cities of the other sects would find it hard to defend against the attacks of the immortal statues. Along the way, Xiaochen remained rather silent, only quietly listening to the discussions of the crowd. This was a rare opportunity. Under such a life-or-death situation, the heaven-abandoning deity sovereign did not dare to have any other thoughts. Of course, Xiaochen's deterrence was also a factor. Otherwise, it would be hard to say. When Zongtian noticed that something was wrong with Xiaochen, he asked, "What's wrong, Xiaochen? I did not hear you say anything along the way. Didn't we already save Heavenly Star Island?" Xiaochen remained silent for a while, not answering directly. He stopped and looked at the crowd. "Who do you think the Treasure Master is?" The Treasure Master is indeed the Treasure Master. However, he now has the identity of the Dark Church's Churchmaster. The cyclic astral lord answered without even thinking. The others could not understand Xiaochen's question. Could it be that there was more to it than meets the eye? The oldest of the group, the Myriad Law Fiend Master, thought for a while before saying, "The Treasure Master's identity is mysterious, and his origins are a mystery. For as long as I can remember, the Treasure Master's residence already existed in the Heavenly Starry Ocean, and controlled the sea markets of the Heavenly Starry Ocean, which are those immortal statues. That is to say, the Treasure Master is just a title, like the master of a sect, passed down from generation to generation?" The heaven-punishing corpse god thought about it, and felt that something was wrong. Suddenly, Zongtian thought of something. He said, "That's not right. In the past, everyone did not know that he was the Dark Church's Churchmaster. At that time, we could say that the title of the Treasure Master was passed down from generation to generation. However, now no matter how we think about it, that is not right. That was right. If he were the Dark Church's Churchmaster, then he would have been living in the deep abyss demonic world. It was impossible for him to appear in the Heavenly Starry Ocean and establish the Treasure Master's residence without causing any commotion. After all, the Dark Church's Churchmaster would definitely attract some attention when he came to the Kunlun realm." Suddenly, the Bright Moon Empress said, "The Treasure Master's residence was established after the demonic calamity 10,000 years ago. My Bright Moon Palace had an old man from the same generation as the Qing Emperor. I asked her about it. 10,000 years ago, the immortal statues were still in the hands of different factions. After the Qing Emperor died, the Treasure Master's residence rose up and merged with the other factions, gaining complete control of all the sea markets." After hearing what the Bright Moon Empress said, Everyone thought about it carefully and felt a chill run down their spine. Based on this speculation, the treasure master might very well be a person of the Kunlun continent. Then, they thought about the treasure master's other identity. In other words, the Dark Church's churchmaster was a person of the Kunlun realm. This was simply incredible. If that was true, how horrifying was this person? Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Many sharp gazes looked at Xiao Chun. Emperor Forsaken said, "Xiao Chun, do you know the treasure master's true identity?" Chapter 1520. Half a day later, Xiao Chun and the others arrived in the profound domain. When they looked up, they could see the highest peak of Kunlun Mountain, which towered into the clouds. The silent Xiao Chun revealed an expression of joy. He said to Imo Chen, "Open the barrier and let her in." After all the demon cultivators appeared, many ferocious demonic beasts appeared. However, as the demons grew stronger, the scattered management of Kunlun Mountain's guards became unified. They formed an independent faction called the Kunlun Palace, which stood above the various large sections. Be it the deity race or the Bushan Palace, they cannot interfere in the matters of the Kunlun Palace. Many people did not understand why the treasure master, who possessed 16 immortal statues and could command the 18 demon monarchs at any time, did not launch an all-out attack. Now that they thought about it, the only thing they feared was this unfathomable Kunlun Palace. Many pairs of sharp gazes stared at Xiao Chun, somewhat surprising him. However, he really did not want to answer this question now. After arriving in the profound domain, Xiao Chun naturally thought of the saber sword two sovereigns. He should have added the word former. However, all of this was fabricated. No matter what he said, it was pointless. However, the news of the demonic calamity had already spread everywhere. The entire Kunlun realm was discussing it. The undulating Kunlun mountain range crossed the entire profound domain, splitting it in half. Whoosh! This is the news that Ingyu brought back not long ago. Originally, I wanted to tell you earlier. However, the heavenly starry ocean is in chaos, and I did not dare to go over. I thought that you would come to Kunlun Mountain sooner or later, so I waited here. Return to Kunlun Mountain, and quickly inform the various races to retreat. Countless black lights flickered endlessly, looking exceptionally eye-catching on the boundless sea. Those were demonic world cultivators currently forming groups and teleporting over in the form of an army. The dark mass stretched as far as the eye could see. No one knew how many demons there were. Just as everyone was about to ask, an overwhelming demonic chi suddenly came from the distance. The demonic chi was so strong that even Ing Zongtian and the others, who were almost at the edge of the continent, could feel it. Tens of millions of demon cultivators appeared in the distance. To the small deep abyss demonic world, this was the entire population mobilizing. When Xiao Chun heard Ingyu's name, he had a bad feeling. Then he thought of something. Suddenly, a pretty figure flew over in front, tearing through the air. Her target was Heavenly Star Island. Xiao Chun's eyes narrowed, and a strange look flashed in his eyes. It was Ing Qiong from the Ing family. He had not seen Ing Qiong for many years. He wondered why Ing Qiong was here. He seems to be from the profound domains Ing clan, the cyclic astral lord said uncertainly as he looked at Ing Qiong. Emperor Forsaken and the others had no time to think. They turned around and quickly left. At the same time, he felt a chill run down his spine. If he hadn't listened to Xiao Chen's suggestion and dragged on a little longer, they would have been completely surrounded. He immediately asked the Myriad Law Fiend King about this question. Emperor Forsaken's question also represented the doubts of the other supreme martial artists. How could Xiao Chen have brought up this topic for no reason, stirring up everyone's suspicions? Soon the armies of the deity Dao Union, the Bushan Palace, the Corpse God Palace, and the Fiend Domain arrived. Emperor Forsaken and the others took their leave in a hurry. Boom! In the next few days, the supreme martial artists would be busy. They needed to evacuate the low-leveled cultivators and commoners under their jurisdiction in the shortest time possible. When the primes saw this scene, their expressions turned grave, forgetting about the earlier topic. If this legendary character were still around, together with Xiao Chun, this demonic calamity would not be a problem. The Deep Abyss demonic world has moved out in full force. They have already cut off their path of retreat. Emperor Forsaken said sullenly with a frown. Xiaochen felt confused. He did not know why there was a need to avoid arousing suspicion. At the mention of the Thunder King, the cyclic Astral Lord and the Bright Moon Empress showed somewhat gloomy expressions. Right now, the Saber Sovereign was himself. Chu Chaoyan probably snatched away the Sword Sovereign medallion. The Myriad Law Fiend Master introduced some things about Kunlun Mountain to Xiaochen. Then he continued. Furthermore, the various major factions know very little about how strong the Kunlun Palace is. Once the cultivators of the various races enter the Kunlun Palace, they rarely come out and do not leak too much information. Then Ing Qiong's figure flashed a few times, and he arrived before Xiaochen. The Myriad Law Fiend Master muttered. This is. If the Kunlun realm had not fallen into chaos, the deity Dao Union and the Bushin Palace would not have fought so intensely. Both sides would have suffered severe injuries, and the Deep Abyss demonic world would not have had an opportunity to make a move. After exchanging some pleasantries, Ing Qiong said to Xiaochen, Xiaochen, can I have a word with you? Xiaochen remained silent. His expression changed slightly, and he no longer asked about the Kunlun Palace. Clearly, the profound domain was affected as well. Xiaochen discovered that they passed to the west of the Kunlun mountain range. This place was clearly much more desolate than before. The various large clans of the profound domain must have received news and made preparations in advance, retreating to the rear of Kunlun Mountain. The guards of Kunlun Mountain are very special. There are not many of them. There are cultivators of the various races. However, they are all elites selected in secret. They have existed since the martial epoch. At first, they were rather scattered. The various races sent some people to protect the Kunlun realm together. This humble girl, Ing Qiong, greets the primes. Ing Qiong knew the rules very well. After she arrived, she greeted the cyclic Astral Lord and the others first. The profound domain looked calm and peaceful. This neutral territory that connected the various races had not suffered any attacks for now. The Fiend Masters had participated in a demonic calamity, and could not avoid interacting with the Kunlun Palace. Xiaochen, do you know the true identity of the Treasure Master? The Myriad Law Fiend Master smiled softly and said, the three of us have interacted with this Kunlun Palace before. However, we are not familiar with many of them. If the Thunder King were still around, we would be familiar with many of them. After all, the Thunder King experienced the most demonic calamities. Many of the upper echelon of the Kunlun Palace are humans in the first place. They received the Thunder King's favor or guidance. When Xiaochen looked back, he saw clumps of demonic clouds covering the sky where Heavenly Star Island originally was. We'll talk about it later. I am not sure either. Ing Qiong continued. Chu Chaoyan used lightning-quick methods to occupy the Sky Dome realm. The various sects of the Martial Empire were all destroyed. Now there is only one empire left, the Heavenly Emperor Wu's nation. The emperor is Chu Chaoyan himself. Are the people of my Xiao clan all right? Ingyu sent back news that Chu Chaoyan captured all the people of the Xiao clan. It is unknown whether they are alive or dead. Ing Qiong said in a low voice, not daring to look at Xiaochen. Xiaochen looked at the Myriad Law Fiend Master and said, others might not understand this Kunlun Palace, but Senior Fiend Master should know more, right? This is my friend. The Ing clan is also a clan that submitted to the Qing Emperor 10,000 years ago. They have been taking care of the Xiao clan in secret for many years. No wonder the Treasure Master said that Xiaochen had called for reinforcements from Kunlun Mountain. It looked like the Treasure Master understood the Kunlun Palace very well. However, after thinking about it, it made sense. Given that person's identity, it was impossible for him not to understand the Kunlun Palace. After the Treasure Master followed Ing Qiong some distance away, the smile on Ing Qiong's face vanished. With a grave expression he said, Xiaochen, you have to be mentally prepared for what I said. Don't get too excited. Given such a shocking scene, it was no longer important who the Treasure Master was. So what if Xiaochen knew? Could it be that if he knew, he could immediately kill the other party? Suddenly, Xiaochen recalled something. The Treasure Master once thought that Xiaochen had gone to Kunlun Mountain to call for reinforcements. At that time, Xiaochen felt somewhat suspicious. Are the people of Kunlun Mountain very strong? As for Xiao Chun, he headed for Kunlun Mountain with the myriad Law Fiend Master, the cyclic Astral Lord, and the Bright Moon Empress. Logically speaking, the Kunlun Palace had existed since the martial epoch and had a long inheritance. Furthermore, it had absorbed the elites of the 5 major races, secretly nurturing them since they were young. They should be very strong. In fact, after Xiao Chun rose up, he might even reorganize the various major factions and charge into the demonic world. Of course, the most important thing is that the minor demonic calamity occurs once every few thousand years. Most of the time, the Kunlun Palace does not have much of a presence. It will not interfere with the matters of the outside world. It is like this faction does not exist at all. Naturally, there is no need to pay attention to it. Xiao Chen's heart sank, but his expression did not change. He tried to find some clues on Ing Qiong's face. After failing to find anything, he said, "I promise you." "What is it?" Or rather, as long as the Thunder King was still around, Xiao Chen's tribulation would not be that simple, and the Kunlun realm would not fall into chaos. Xiao Chen now understood. Now he had a rough understanding of this Kunlun Palace. It felt like a paradise. It was rather similar to what he remembered. Chapter 1521. Contrary to Ing Qiong's expectations, Xiao Chen's expression did not change much, appearing rather calm. Are you alright?" Ing Qiong asked carefully. After all, she was somewhat responsible for this matter. Right now, she was the Ing clan's clan head. The Great Qin Empire of the Sky Dome realm was equivalent to the Ing clan. No matter what, she was somewhat responsible for not being able to protect Xiao Chen's family. Xiao Chen smiled faintly, not wanting to put any pressure on Ing Qiong. He said, "I'm fine. Thank you for protecting my family for so long. You should not feel indebted." "Are you really fine?" Ing Qiong asked in some disbelief. Xiao Chen nodded and said, "I'm really fine. Chu Chaoyan promised me that he would not touch my family. Furthermore, he has something in my hands. Perhaps it has something to do with my control." Upon hearing this explanation, Ing Qiong felt relieved of a heavy burden. She heaved a sigh of relief and said, "That's good. Otherwise, I would blame myself for the rest of my life." Xiao Chen felt embarrassed in his heart. He smiled and said, "Don't overthink. The Ing clan has already moved, right? Do you have time?" Ing Qiong answered honestly, "Yes, they have already moved to the rear. Once the demonic calamity starts, all the clans and factions of the profound domain will move over. They are already very experienced." "Good. In that case, help me with something." "What is it?" "Just tell me. If I can help, I will definitely do my best." Xiao Chen turned around and pointed to Heavenly Star Island. The people on this island are all cultivators of the heavenly starry ocean. They have never been to the Kunlun continent before. There will definitely be a lot of trouble moving them. At that time, can you help to make arrangements for them?" Ing Qiong smiled and said, "It's just a small matter. Leave it to me." "In that case, many thanks in advance. Come with me. I'll introduce you to them." Right. The two returned to the top of the city wall, trying to find some clues from Xiao Chen's expression. Unfortunately, they found nothing. This was especially so for Mo Chen. Her eyes occasionally stared at Ing Qiong, her attention clearly on this girl. "Mo Chen." "Ah." Suddenly, Xiao Chen called out to Mo Chen, startling the other party to his senses. Immediately, Xiao Chen's face revealed a trace of worry. "I was going to ask you and Ing Qiong to help settle everyone down. Looks like I didn't think it through. You're too tired from presiding over the array. Go and rest for a while." Mo Chen blushed slightly, feeling somewhat embarrassed. She shook her head and said, "It's fine. I don't need to rest." "Are you sure?" "I really don't need it." Xiao Chen found this somewhat strange. However, it was not good for him to ask. He looked at the 3 primes and said, "Seniors, I have some matters to attend to and have to rush back to the Sky Dome realm. I will not be able to accompany everyone to the Kunlun Palace." The Sky Dome realm. It seems that the Kunlun realm and the demonic world have an agreement not to allow Emperor Wu to enter, the myriad Law Fiend Master said with a frown. The Bright Moon Empress said, Right now the demonic world and the Kunlun realm are focused on the Kunlun realm. No one should pay attention to these rules. Xiaochen, why are you going to the Sky Dome realm? Is that okay? Many thanks for senior's concern. It's just some trivial matters. I'll come back after I deal with them. Be careful. After saying goodbye to everyone, Xiaochen tore open a hole in the sky and searched for the Sky Dome realm, sensing it. After a while he sensed the Sky Dome realm, which was once an immortal's residence. Then his figure flashed and he barged in. During the immortal epoch, the 3,000 lower realms were all immortal lord residences. After the martial epoch, it slowly developed into a miniature world attached to the Kunlun realm. Previously, Xiaochen did not feel much about the Sky Dome realm. However, after he found out that he was the Sky Dome Immortal Lord's reincarnation, he could not help but feel some ripples in his heart. It was hard to imagine that long ago, this place was once his residence. No wonder his luck in the Sky Dome realm had always been heaven-defying. He had survived so many calamities and never died. Perhaps the Sky Dome realm's heavenly Tao was watching over him. Strange, why do I feel that this Sky Dome realm is rejecting me? Xiaochen, who had just entered the Sky Dome realm, said doubtfully without frowning. In the past, when Xiaochen entered the Sky Dome realm, he did not feel anything strange or terrible. It was just ordinary. However, this time the moment Xiaochen entered, he felt a sense of exclusion. Although it was not intense, it was definitely there. Could it be that Chu Chaoyan has already merged the complete Sky Dome heart and refined it? Never mind, I will not think about this. The other party is determined to obtain it. This is just a matter of time. Right now, Xiaochen felt rather calm. He had not lied to Ying Qiong. Firstly, Xiaochen had the heavenly flame, a treasure that Chu Chaoyan yearned for day and night without touching. Secondly, Chu Chaoyan once promised Xiaochen that he would not touch his family. Xiaochen looked around and opened his heavenly eye. Then his vision traversed thousands of kilometers, looking in the direction of Mo City. In the next moment, Xiaochen casually tore space and instantly appeared in the Xiao residence. Second brother, you really came. After a momentary daze, Xiao Jian's voice rang out. Then Xiaochen looked around. He discovered that he was in the dueling ground of the Xiao clan. Everyone in the Xiao clan was there. When they saw Xiaochen, they all felt extremely excited, their excitement evident in their words. They all came over to greet Xiaochen. However, Xiao Jian scolded them and scolded them. The familiar scene relaxed Xiaochen somewhat. Big brother, there is no need to be so serious. Xiao Jian smiled and said, let's go somewhere else and have a word. Xiaochen nodded. After they were far away, Xiao Jian said, the great Qin nation toppled overnight. The entire Sky Dome realm has already reinstated the banner of the Tianwu dynasty. The dynasty has changed, and Chu Chaoyan is now king. The Xiao clan is still fine. Everyone is fine. They are just surrounded. Chu Chaoyan's attitude is rather good. I wonder what he is up to. In one breath, Xiao Jian told Xiaochen everything that happened in the past few days. It was more or less as Xiaochen guessed. Chu Chaoyan did not make things difficult for the Xiao clan. However, Xiao Jian knew his limits and did not dare to act rashly. He strictly forbade the Xiao clan disciples from going out. Now that the outside world was in chaos, the Xiao clan was still rather calm. Where's father? Xiaochen asked. Xiao Jian replied. Father is doing well. He is currently drinking tea with Chu Chaoyan in the Great Hall. He said that you would arrive before sunset at the latest. Unexpectedly, you really did come. It looks like this fellow has spies in the Kunlun realm as well. He is very well informed. I'll go and meet him. The two headed for the Great Hall. When they got close, they heard Chu Chaoyan's voice. This is superior grade Misty Cloud tea. Its full name is Misty Cloud tea. Uncle, try it properly. In the future, brew it by yourself at home. Remember, the first brew requires at least 10 breaths. Otherwise, the Misty Cloud Immortal Qi will not be able to precipitate. Chu Chaoyan seemed to have a deep understanding of tea. As he spoke, he drew on the classics in great detail, appearing ingenious and lively. Good tea, Xiaochen said as he stepped over the threshold with Xiao Jian. Chu Chaoyan put down his teacup and looked at Xiaochen. He smiled faintly and said, you have not tasted it yet. How do you know it is good tea? You are not me. How do you know that I do not know? Xiaochen argued. Then he walked over and picked up his teacup to take a sip. The tip of his tongue tasted sweet, and the fragrance lingered in his mouth. It was like misty clouds, like immortal qi. Xiaochen put down his teacup and looked at Chu Chaoyan. This is indeed good tea. Chu Chaoyan, you are really willing to part with it. Chu Chaoyan raised his eyebrows slightly. Then he smiled and said, one can only gain by giving up something, right? Chen why are you back? Xiaochen explained and comforted his father. I came back to take a look. Lord Father, I will go out with Brother Chu to discuss some matters. I will be back in a while. Xiao Xiong was not a fool. He knew that while the two appeared to be chatting cheerfully, they were actually at loggerheads with each other. Xiao Xiong nodded and did not say anything. Let's go out and talk, Xiaochen said as he looked at Chu Chaoyan. That is exactly what I was thinking. Right after Xiaochen spoke, the two left the Xiao clan's great hall as though they had teleported. Then they appeared at the summit of Seven Horn Mountain, facing each other. Clouds surrounded the summit, and the wind blew at the two's clothes and hair. Xiaochen waved his hand and tossed the heavenly flame to Chu Chaoyan. This is the heavenly flame's origin flame, the big gift you wanted. Chu Chaoyan smiled faintly and said, this gift is indeed big. However, I do not need it. Wuxia. With a wave of his hand, Chu Chaoyan gently fanned the heavenly flame's origin flame back. Xiaochen caught the crystal containing the heavenly flame's origin flame. Then he looked at the other party and asked in surprise, what do you want? Chapter 15:22. What do you want then? Xiaochen found this strange. Chu Chaozhu did not even want the heavenly flame. This was a treasure that the other party wanted to obtain. In that case, what could be more attractive than the heavenly flame's origin flame? I want a promise from you. Xiaochen felt stunned. He looked at the other party and said, all right, I promise you. There's something else I want to ask you. Do you know who the treasure master is? Chu Chaozhu was stunned for a moment. He did not know why Xiaochen agreed without even thinking. After a while, Chu Chaozhu replied, naturally I do. His other identity in the deep abyss demonic world is the Dark Church's churchmaster. However, I rarely interacted with him. Most of the time, he does not appear in the demonic world. He also leaves the matters of the sect to the two vice churchmasters. Xiaochen entered deep thought. Then he muttered, actually, I have been meaning to ask, what is your relationship with him? Chu Chaoyan smiled and said, there is no relationship. I only met him once. I helped him with something, and he helped me with something. That is all. More accurately, he should be an enemy now. If you cannot kill him, the one who will kill him will be me. Xiaochen revealed a contemplative expression. It looked like Chu Chaoyan did not know about the treasure master's other identity. In the entire world, probably only he would think of that person. If not for learning some things in the Blue Dragon Palace, Xiaochen would not have thought this way. He could only say that that person hid very well. After thinking for a long time, Xiaochen said, I feel that we can talk about the grudges between us. I already have a rough idea. Don't worry. I will not want the divine item that the Tianwu Emperor left behind. You can just leave. Chu Chaoyan smiled and said, the divine item is just a catalyst. There is no way to reconcile the differences between us. I will repeat everything that the last Tianwu Emperor did 10,000 years ago, unless you stop asking. Xiaochen was speechless when he heard that. The last Tianwu Emperor 10,000 years ago wanted to merge the 3,000 lower realms. Then, he wanted to swallow up the luck of the entire Kunlun realm, before leaving the abandoned land, sacrificing the future of everyone in Kunlun for him alone. Seeing that Xiaochen was silent, Chu Chaoyan continued with a smile. I already said long ago that we have the same goal. Unfortunately, a battle is inevitable. Xiaochen frowned and said, why? So many people want to leave the land of exile, but it is difficult to succeed. You have this opportunity, so you should cherish it. Why do you have to be so ambitious? Ambition? Chu Chaoyan smiled bitterly in his heart, but he didn't want to say much about this matter, nor did he want to explain anything. With your talent, I believe that even without the luck of the entire Kunlun realm, you can still make a name for yourself outside the abandoned land. Chu Chaoyan didn't say anything. He didn't answer. He needed to defeat the person. It wasn't that simple. Even if he used up his entire life, he might not be able to injure the other party. Only by obtaining the luck of the entire Kunlun realm would he have a chance. You should go. Your family is safer in the Sky Dome realm than in the Kunlun realm. I will help you take good care of them. Since they didn't get along, Chu Chaoyan was not in the mood to continue the conversation. So he asked Xiao Chen to leave. Goodbye. Xiao Chen's face sank. Similarly, he didn't want to say more. He simply could not understand why the other party insisted on doing this. Do unto others what you do not want others to do unto you. This had always been Xiao Chen's principle. He would never do something for the sake of his own selfishness, ignoring the rest of the world. Chu Chaoyan didn't want to explain either. After all, even if he did, Xiao Chen wouldn't understand either. Those who know me say that I am worried. Those who do not know me say that I seek something. As Xiao Chen took his leave, he recalled a scene from the past. When the 7 thrones merged, he saw the end of fate. Chu Chaoyan stood in the Sky Dome realm, merging the 3,000 lower realms and waiting for him to fight. It seemed like fate really could not be changed. After saying goodbye to Chu Chaoyan, Xiao Chen was in no rush to leave the Sky Dome realm. Since he came to the Sky Dome realm, he had to spend a few days at the Xiao clan. The many things that happened in the Kunlun realm fatigued Xiao Chen, preventing him from resting properly. Perhaps this would be his last leisure time in the Kunlun realm. After this, he would have to face the demonic calamity of the Kunlun realm. He would either die or live. 3 days later, Xiao Chen left the Sky Dome realm and returned to the Kunlun realm's profound domain. Xiao Chen walked alone to the foot of the highest peak of Kunlun Mountain. This peak towered into the clouds. No one knew where the summit was. Rumor had it that the Kunlun Road was at this peak. If one walked up this peak, one would be able to leave the Kunlun realm. However, this Kunlun Road was now a dead end. Very few people dared to take it. Only those who were truly on the brink of death would muster the courage to take it. Along the way, Xiao Chen discovered that the western side of the mountain range had already become completely deserted. In a mere 3 days, all the sects and clans that could retreat had retreated to the eastern side of the mountain range. This Kunlun mountain was like the final barrier of the entire Kunlun realm. A long line lined up at the foot of the mountain. Countless cultivators wanted to enter this peak. Most of them were loose cultivators. Without any sect connections, they did not have the authority to pass directly. Xiao Chen glanced at the line. If he had to line up, who knew how long he would have to wait before he could truly enter the mountain? Just as Xiao Chen hesitated over whether to sneak in or not, 2 figures descended from the sky and landed before Xiao Chen. You are Xiao Chen. These 2 wore long robes and carried treasured swords on their backs. Their attire was the same as Emperor Wu's. Xiao Chen nodded and took out his lunar shadow saber to verify his identity. It's the lunar shadow saber. This saber of the Blue Dragon King Xiao Chen is the best proof. We are the Kunlun Palace's 4th generation disciples. On the orders of Palace Master Feng, we are here to receive you. After verifying his identity, the 2 looked at Xiao Chen with an additional trace of respect and deference. Xiao Chen, who had been worried about not knowing the way and not wanting to line up, did not think too much and followed the 2. As Xiao Chen followed the 2, he flew up. Along the way, he met with many gazes sizing him up. Vaguely, this unremarkable mountain peak hid many checkpoints and experts guarding the checkpoints. I wonder what the Kunlun Palace is like. Xiao Chen was also very curious about their palace master. He did not know how strong such a mysterious person was. An existence that even the treasure master feared should not be weak. At the very least, he would not be weaker than the primes. After flying through the clouds, Xiao Chen saw a palace. This palace stood on a cliff. Clouds and mist lingered around it, making it look like one was floating in a sea of clouds. As they rose and fell, it looked like a fairyland. As Xiao Chen approached the plaza in front of the palace, he discovered many young cultivators cultivating. He felt shocked in his heart. These youths were all existences that the outside world had never heard of. However, Their cultivations were no weaker than those of the outstanding talents of the outside world. The three of them flew quickly and soon passed the plaza. The disciples in the plaza all put down their weapons and curiously sized up Xiao Chun as he flew by. Is he the Blue Dragon King? He is very young. He looks even younger than us. Rumor has it that he is already the strongest person in the Kunlun realm, someone who surpassed primes. That's impossible. Could he be stronger than the palace master? That should be true. Didn't you see the palace master personally invite him? However, it is hard to say if he is stronger than the palace master. Among the disciples discussing, there was a girl who appeared disappointed and frustrated, not saying anything. This girl was Lung Liusu. Back then, the Phoenix's Passion Palace's holy daughter, Nguyen Muyun, sent her to the Kunlun Palace before she went to the astral battlefield. After that, Nguyen Muyun died in the astral battlefield, and Lung Liusu never left. Just as Xiao Chun was about to reach the main hall, he suddenly stopped and turned around to take a careful look. In that brief glance, Xiao Chun vaguely saw someone familiar. At this moment, he squinted and discovered Lung Liusu. Immediately, all sorts of memories flooded into Xiao Chun's mind. After not seeing her for a long time, Xiao Chun thought that she had fallen in the astral battlefield like Nguyen Muyun. When Xiao Chun first entered the Heavenly Saber Pavilion, something interesting had happened to this person, who was once the young pavilion master of the Heavenly Saber Pavilion. However, after that, Xiao Chun did not have much interaction with her, nearly forgetting about her. Blue Dragon King, you are familiar with one of these junior brothers and sisters? Xiao Chun nodded and said, there is one. Do you want to meet her? If it is not long, the palace master should be able to wait. Never mind, it is better not to meet her. After meeting her, Xiao Chun did not know what to say. He shook his head and withdrew his gaze. Chapter 1523. Junior Sister Lung, the Blue Dragon King seemed to be looking at you earlier. Indeed, that seems to be the case. He looked for a long time. Will he come over? Hey, he's gone. The disciples in the plaza had been paying attention to Xiao Chun's every move. When he turned around, they naturally saw him clearly. With a sigh, the commotion quietly died down. Lung Liusu smiled faintly. She did not feel much disappointment or melancholy. Everyone had their own fortuitous encounters. There was no need to be envious or thirsty. At the very least, the other party could look at her one last time. This meant that he had not forgotten. That was already sufficient. There were no regrets. The Kunlun Palace was like a large courtyard built on a mountain. All the buildings were painted with a faint layer of golden paint. That was not pure golden paint. Instead, it was made from some special divine material after it was crushed and refined. Aside from being aesthetically pleasing, it could be used with formations, increasing the might of the formations. Xiao Chun had a feeling that while it looked like he was walking in the palace, he was actually isolated from the outside by some kind of formation. The entire Kunlun Palace gave off layers of faint golden light. As one walked in it, everything looked golden. The two Kunlun Palace disciples were bathed in a layer of light. As for Xiao Chun, he looked the same as before he entered the mountain. This further confirmed Xiao Chun's guess that he was not included in the formation. If the person in charge of the formation wanted to, they could squeeze him out at any time. Of course, this was under the premise that Xiao Chun did not resist. It was noble but not tacky. It matched the aura of the Kunlun Palace, which surpassed all the sects in the world. The palace at the highest point had a staircase made of white jade, winding all the way down. Xiao Chun followed the two Kunlun Palace swordsmen up. When he arrived at his destination, he saw the words Qingyang Hall written on the palace. It was said that the founder of the Kunlun Palace was an extremely strong cultivator, named Feng Qingyang. Later on, Qingyang Hall became the main palace. Only the palace master and a few elders could enter. We cannot enter this Qingyang Hall. Senior Blue Dragon King, please enter by yourself. The palace master and some elders have already been waiting for a long time. The sword-wielding disciple said with a smile. After muttering to himself for a while, Xiao Chun stepped into the hall, but what greeted him was darkness. It formed a stark contrast with the bright background outside. Under the dim light, the hall was filled with a sinister and eerie smell. Xiao. 6 rays of light flashed, and 6 figures appeared in the dark space. There were a total of 5 people on the left and right, and the person sitting on the main seat at the front must be the palace lord. In the dark space, the 5 elders and the Kunlun Palace's master were all encased in light, their figures clearly visible. As for Xiaochen himself, he was bathed in the darkness and seemed to be one with it. However, the palace master had his back to Xiaochen and did not turn around. This strange arrangement made Xiaochen slightly uncomfortable. However, he still politely asked, "Palace master, what business do you have with me?" "Take a guess?" The Kunlun Palace's palace master still did not turn around. He said some mischievous words, making Xiaochen depressed. "Take a guess?" The meaning of these 2 words was clear and concise. Xiaochen naturally understood it, but he didn't have the time to guess. Goodbye. Respect was mutual. Since Xiaochen was willing to come, he was showing respect to the other party. The other party had his back to Xiaochen, yet he said such childish words. That was disrespectful. In that case, there was no point in Xiaochen staying. He still had to go to the Dragon's Gate's people's situation. "You want to leave? I'm afraid that is not up to you," one of the 5 Kunlun Palace elders said indifferently with a cold snort. Xiaochen recognized these 5 people. He had seen them once after the road to Emperor, and once after the incident at the Blue Dragon Palace. However, those were images. This time they were real people. Xiaochen had always held respect for these 5 elders. He stopped and said, "Seniors, what exactly is the matter? Just get straight to the point." Whoosh. Right after the Kunlun Palace's palace master spoke, he suddenly turned around and looked at Xiaochen. The Kunlun Palace's palace master's gaze was like a sharp saber light flickering with resplendent light in the darkness, carrying an incredibly tyrannical and sharp aura as it pierced towards Xiaochen. What a tyrannical saber might! Where did this person come from? Xiaochen thought to himself. Then he used his Dao might and easily blocked the other party's saber might. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. In the dark space, the pillars of light encasing the 6 suddenly vanished. Then they layered over each other and encased Xiaochen. Immediately, Xiaochen could not see the other 6 in this pitch-black palace. Instead, he was exposed to the 6. His every move, even the slightest movement, could be seen clearly. Interesting. Xiaochen's lips curled up slightly. Are they going to force me to tell them something? Blue Dragon King, now that the Kunlun realm is in danger, please tell us how to surpass Prime. A voice rang out in the darkness. Please forgive us for using such means. In this Azure Yang Palace, the strength of outsiders will be suppressed by half. As long as you are willing to tell us the secret to surpassing Prime, we will naturally let you leave. Let's work together to resist the demons and survive this calamity. I hope you can think of the big picture and not act rashly. Xiaochen's heart sank. It turned out that this was a trap for him. He circulated his veritable essence energy slightly. He discovered that when he circulated his veritable essence energy, it did not affect him at all. However, since the other party said that his strength would be reduced by half, it should be true. Suddenly thinking about it, Xiaochen somewhat understood what was going on. From the start to the end, he had not been merged into the Kunlun Palace's formation. Perhaps this was where the problem came from. There was no problem with circulating his veritable essence energy. However, his offensive and destructive power would be affected. Unfortunately, Xiaochen hated it the most. He would not compromise at all when others forced him or threatened him. Originally, Xiaochen still had some respect for these people. Now he no longer had any, only deep loathing. Hiding your head and showing your tail. If you have something to say it to me face to face. Xiaochen snorted coldly and ignored the other party's barrage of questions. After all the questions, there was only one meaning: to hand over the secret to surpassing Prime. Not to mention that there was no secret. Even if there were, Xiaochen would not be scared into handing it over. If there was a problem, it would be fine as long as everyone discussed it peacefully. What was the point of setting up such a trap? It looks like you do not agree. In that case, we can only use some forceful methods. A strand of sword chi silently shot towards Xiaochen in the darkness. Dang! Xiao Chen held his saber horizontally in front of him and blocked this strand of sword qi. Then he quickly retreated 100 meters. The light encasing Xiao Chen persisted without scattering, looking like a ghost. As for the person who attacked, he remained hidden in the darkness, nowhere to be seen. Dang! 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 The 5 elders worked together to attack Xiao Chen like a flood. Xiao Chen calmly made his move, retreating step by step, dealing with the moves as they came. The other party's figure was hidden in the darkness, invisible to the naked eye and hard to detect with spiritual sense. An invisible barrier blocked the attacks that Xiao Chen sent out, reducing their might by half. He was in a very passive position. The 5 old men did not give up. All sorts of killing moves appeared one after another. They came from different races. Some were of the deity race, some were of the human race, and some were of the ghost race. Their moves were all very experienced. Xiao Chen was like a small boat in a violent storm, drifting in the wind like he would capsize at any moment. Hand over the secret technique that surpasses prime, and everything can be discussed. Otherwise, you can forget about leaving the hall. The Kunlun realm is in danger. Blue Dragon King, are you still going to be so selfish? The roars were like thunder. As the 5 elders supported Xiao Chen, they continuously shouted at him. How noisy! Unable to endure any longer, Xiao Chen shouted coldly and suddenly drew the lunar shadow saber. Whoosh! The instant Xiao Chen drew the saber light, a resplendent saber light lit up the entire hall. The 5 old men could no longer hide. Lingyun stance, void-breaking stance, dragon-subduing stance, falling moon stance, heartbreaking stance. In that instant, Xiao Chen executed the flawless saber technique. It was like he split into 5. With the support of great Tao energy, every move contained startling might. Pusai. The 5 old men revealed horrified expressions as their defenses were torn. They vomited a mouthful of blood and went flying back. Whoosh! 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 The afterimages merged, and Xiao Chen sheathed his saber. Kasie. Suddenly, a finger snapped in the darkness. The entire hall was brightly lit, and the darkness swept away. This was the first time Xiao Chen saw the situation in the hall clearly. The 5 old men that he knocked back were nowhere to be seen. Only one person remained standing on the throne in the hall. This person's hair was disheveled, and he looked at Xiao Chen with a sinister smile. Indeed, you are the Thunder King's inheritor. You did not disappoint me. Chapter 1524. Xiao Chen felt that something was wrong. Just as he was feeling suspicious, many figures walked out of the hall. Among them were Ingzongtian, Emperor Forsaken, the Myriad Law Fiend Master, the Bright Moon Empress, and other familiar people. There were also many old men that Xiao Chen did not recognize. However, without exception, they were all experts, the supreme elders of the Kunlun Palace. As for the sloppy bladesman in front, he was even more mysterious and unfathomable. At the very least, he was a prime. Big brother, what's going on? Xiao Chen looked at Ingzongtian somewhat helplessly, wanting an explanation. Otherwise, he would not be in a good mood. Ingzongtian smiled and said, Don't misunderstand. This is a test. We are discussing who should be the leader of the alliance to resist the demons. The Myriad Law Fiend Master, the others, and I recommended little brother Xiao Chen. However, these 5 old men do not believe in your strength and want to recommend their palace master. Hence, we set up this trap, hoping to agitate you and make you attack without holding back, to see your true strength. As the deity race elders spoke, the 5 old men that Xiao Chen injured earlier walked out again. Their injuries were much better now. The deity race elders looked at Xiao Chen and said, Sorry, we had no choice but to resort to such a method. Without truly testing your strength, we could not feel at ease. There is only one chance. If we fail, the entire Kunlun realm will be destroyed. We need to be cautious about who should be the leader. After understanding the whole story, Xiao Chen did not know whether to laugh or cry. However, he was not a petty person. Furthermore, although he was upset, the other party had already apologized. So Xiao Chen could not blame them. Alright, back to the main topic. Since we have already recommended Xiao Chen to be the alliance chief, We have no more disputes. Let's discuss the demonic calamity that we are about to face. The Kunlun Palace's palace master clapped his hands, and the entire roof of the Azure Sun Hall suddenly separated, revealing the sky and clouds. A rectangular table made of dragon patterned wood appeared in front of everyone. With everyone's recommendation, Xiao Chun and the Kunlun Palace's palace master sat together at the head of the dragon's head. On the right sat the 7 primes of the Kunlun realm: Ingzongtian Emperor Forsaken, the heaven-punishing corpse god, the Fox King, the myriad Lawfiend Master, the Bright Moon Empress, and the cyclic Astral Lord. On the left were the 8 elders of the Kunlun Palace. All of them were half-step primes and very old. Many of them had experienced minor demonic tribulations before. Almost everyone present here was the gathering of the peak combat power of the entire Kunlun realm. Now all these people obeyed Xiao Chun. How to deploy, how to resist the devil race, these were all arranged by him. Unexpectedly, the moment Xiao Chun returned from the Sky Dome realm, he would have to face such a large formation. Xiao Chun was truly unprepared. However, at this time he could not retreat. He carried the hopes of the entire Kunlun realm. He had to endure all the pressure. How much time do we have? Xiao Chun was the first to ask. At most 7 days. At the very least 3 days. After the demon army reorganizes, they will charge over in half a day. A Kunlun Palace old man said. There was really not much time. Xiao Chun nodded and continued. Are our people done reorganizing? In the 3 days that you were in the Sky Dome realm, the Dragon's Gate's Emochan already finished reorganizing all the cultivators of the various sects of the Kunlun realm. Speaking of which, we still have to thank you. If not for this wondrous girl from your Dragon's Gate, we would have had to work for several months. Emochan's contribution? When Xiao Chun heard this, he did not find it strange. Emochan had already verified her abilities at the Dragon's Gate long ago. What's going on with the ghost race's side? After the Dongyue Ghost Emperor died, no one came to replace him? Xiao Chun asked with a frown. The ghost domain was a great help. Ghost Mother Sun Shi and her disciple Qing Cheng are currently reorganizing the ghost domain. They will probably need some time, someone answered. Xiao Chun indicated that he understood. Then he analyzed the strength of the demons and the dark church with the others. At this critical moment, all the people present had revealed everything they knew about the Nether sect and the demon clans. Naturally, the strongest person in the Dark Church is the Dark Church's Churchmaster, who is also the Treasure Master. This person is mysterious and unfathomable. He has never made a move before, but the fact that he could subdue the Celestial Demon Monarch, the Earth Demon Monarch, and the Ice Demon Monarch proves how horrifying his strength is. Xiao Chun indicated his agreement. Then he said, I'll deal with this person. Secondly, there are the 2 vice church masters under him, Xing Wang and Fa Wang. Their strengths are strange, stronger than regular primes. After that, there are the 18 demon monarchs that everyone is more familiar with. You should have interacted with them before. 18 demon monarchs, 9 primes and 9 half-step primes. With the experts here and the Holy Lord of some holy lands, they should be able to deal with them. The crucial thing was who would deal with Xing Wang and Fa Wang, these 2 troublesome people. I'll do it. With my strength, delaying the 2 should not be difficult, the Kunlun Palace's palace master said. The Kunlun Palace's palace master asked sullenly. With his strength, delaying these 2 would not be difficult. Just based on this, it looked like the Kunlun realm and the demonic world had an even chance of victory. Aside from this, what we are most worried about is the demonic god. That's right. Every minor demonic tribulation is to obtain enough fresh blood and souls to sacrifice to the demonic god. The demon race has been preparing for this for tens of thousands of years. This time, the demonic god will definitely appear in the Kunlun realm. I heard that the Treasure Master captured nearly half of the elite cultivators of the heavenly starry ocean, including several holy lord, in preparation to summon the demonic god. The demonic god, the primes present, and the Kunlun Palace's elders all fell silent. The demonic god was a huge problem. No matter how one thought about it, they all felt some despair. At that time, I will summon the deity race ancestor, and Ingzongtian will summon the soul of the Bushan Palace's founder. They should be able to deal with it. Emperor Forsaken spoke, breaking the silence. Our corpse race also has a 10,000-year-old demonic corpse. We can use it at the crucial moment, the heaven-punishing corpse god said. Suddenly Ingzongtian said, "You all forgot an important point. The demonic world's demonic beasts have many peak demonic beasts. They are no weaker than sovereign martial emperors. Furthermore, there are many demonic beasts. At that time we might end up surrounded." After a few rounds of analysis, no matter how one looked at it, the Deep Abyss demonic world was stronger than the Kunlun realm. Furthermore, it was not just a little stronger but more than double or triple. Just in terms of peak combat power, the Deep Abyss demonic world had more primes than the Kunlun realm. After the discussion ended, the Kunlun Palace's palace master handed a banner to Xiaochun. "This is the Kunlun banner. After you refine it, there will always be a banner flying behind you. Every cultivator in battle will see the banner when they look up. This is the use of the Alliance Chief. As long as the banner is still there, it means that you are not dead. This will infinitely boost the confidence of the Kunlun realm's cultivators." Xiaochun received the Kunlun banner and entered deep thought. He somewhat understood why the 5 old men set this up for him earlier. If Xiaochun was not strong enough, the Kunlun banner would break not long after the battle. This would undoubtedly lower the morale of the entire Kunlun realm's cultivators. "Don't worry. I will properly refine it. I will definitely persevere until the last moment," Xiaochun said seriously. The Kunlun Palace's palace master smiled and said, "If Sangmu knew that his successor was this strong, he would definitely be overjoyed." Xiaochun looked at the other party and entered deep thought. He asked, "Could it be that you know Sangmu?" "Haha. Not only do I know him, but if not for him, this old man would not have to run to the Kunlun Palace in such a sullen manner." The Kunlun Palace's palace master laughed loudly and said, "However, this has also helped me. I am the Saber Demon. I once competed with him in the Sky Dome realm. After arriving in the Kunlun realm, we continued to compete. Who knew he died right after he became king? How unfortunate." The Saber Demon. Xiaochun's eyes lit up. He had heard of this person before. The one who fought with Sangmu in the 5-nation youth competition back then was this person. Unexpectedly, due to fate, this person became the Kunlun Palace's palace master. No wonder that saber might was so scary. "It looks like you have heard of me. I really wish to have a good fight with you. That way, I can fulfill my final wish of fighting with Sangmu. Unfortunately, I no longer have this opportunity. In at most 7 days, the demons will be charging over." The Saber Demon sighed, revealing a complicated expression on his unkempt face. Xiaochun's expression was similarly complicated. He muttered to himself as he looked in the direction of the distant heavenly starry ocean. 7 days later, I will be fighting with that person. Will I win? I have to. Chapter 1525. After the final discussion ended, it was time to mobilize everyone. The main peak of Kunlun Mountain became the gathering place of various experts. Several experts volunteered to come to the main peak of Kunlun Mountain. Most of the older generation experts gathered at the summit, where the main hall of the Kunlun Palace was. The outstanding talents of the younger generation and the outstanding talents of the Golden Age gathered at the Heavenly Dew Divine Spring. Now that the Heavenly Dew Divine Spring was sealed, countless experts stood guard in secret. The reason why the youths liked to gather here was simple. Most of the outstanding talents of the Kunlun realm had soaked in the Heavenly Dew Divine Spring before. This included Xiaochun. Back then he had fought Diwuk in this Heavenly Dew Divine Spring, slowly rising to prominence in the Kunlun continent. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Figures flashed, and 2 people descended from the sky, standing side by side. They were the sons of the former 3 holy masters of the Tianwu domain, Xiaoju and Feng Wuji. These 2 had a good relationship and usually traveled together. The moment they showed themselves, several people immediately recognized them. Among the younger generation, these 2 were the cream of the crop. They had already been influential people for a long time. During the Golden Age, they had all obtained fortuitous encounters. This was especially so after they obtained the help of the deity race to forge their deity statues. Their strength and cultivation improved very quickly. A king's might was emitted from the two of them, causing many people to be astonished. What a strong emperor's might! Unexpectedly, these two already advanced to sovereign martial emperor. This is expected, right? Diwuk advanced to sovereign martial emperor a year ago. These two are so close to Diwuk. Their talent is not bad and they have. Whoosh! Suddenly, a cold intent came from the sky. 3 figures quickly flew over from the distance. When these 3 got closer, they discovered that they were 2 men and 1 woman. The woman was the current sect master of the Haotian sect, Shui Lingling. The men were in Jiuanqi and Bai Wuxia. The 3 also gave off the emperor's might of a sovereign martial emperor, attracting the attention of many. More importantly, the sovereign emperor's might of these 3 was even denser and steadier than that of Xiaoju and Feng Wuji. Vaguely, there was already a trace of the Holy Lord's aura, which was no less than that of the emperors of the 9th heaven. After leaving the savage battlefield, the 3 entered closed-door cultivation and only came out recently. As the disciple of the Thunder King, and Jiuanqi's foundation was naturally extraordinary. As for Shui Lingling, she possessed the resources of an entire sect. As for Bai Wuxia, after he refined the eternal ice that Xiao Chun gave him, he finally advanced to sovereign martial emperor. The 3 of them had not relied on the power of faith to be conferred the title of king. Instead, they had relied on their foundation and fortuitous encounters. After being conferred the title of king, they would naturally be stronger than the 2 saints. Shui Lingling, Bai Wuxia, and Jiuanqi, the 3 of you are actually conferred kings as well. Xiaoju exclaimed in shock, a look of shock flashing in his eyes. Bai Wuxia smiled and said, "Why not? Do you want to have a competition to see who is the true sovereign martial emperor? Is it interesting? The demonic calamity is upon us, and the final battle is at hand. If you want to compete, let's see who can kill more demons." Suddenly, a voice interrupted the two's conversation. Only the voice could be heard, but no one could be seen. The voice reverberated for a while. When it stopped, the owner of the voice finally revealed himself. A black-clad man with an indifferent expression stood on a stone pillar, hugging a treasure sword as he looked at the crowd. Yin Shursan. Some of the profound domain's people immediately recognized Yin Shursan. This was the top swordsman of the profound domain's younger generation. He cultivated the killing sword. After not seeing him for many years, his aura had become even colder than before. However, the killing chi in his eyes was even more easily hidden. No sharpness visible at all. No one could guess Yin Shursan's strength. However, he did not fear it at all. Given the sovereign might of Shui Lingling and the others, they were definitely sovereign martial emperors at the very least. How lively! Unexpectedly, there are so many old friends here. Laughter rang out. Qi Wuxia and the White-Bone Sovereign's descendant, Long Fei, walked over with smiles on their faces. Qi Wuxia had a wanton and unrestrained nature. He was indifferent to worldly affairs, and his smile never faded. Those who liked him said that he was an optimistic person. Those who disliked him said that he had an evil air that would never fade. The various influential people of the younger generation appeared here for only one purpose: to wait for the impending demonic calamity. As the crowd chatted, more people arrived. However, this time it was not just 1 or 2 people who came. Mo Chen led the Dragon's Gates people. The chubby Kim Taeho, the Azura races Lan Xiaobai and Lan Yu, the Sky Dome realm Xianyuan Zhantian, Gong Yangyu, Yu Bingyun and the others. Even further behind were the Sun Palace's Chu Yang, Fu Hongyao, the Northern Sea Alliance's Yi Chun Di Xinhan, and the other experts of the Heavenly Starry Ocean mixed in with the Dragon's Gates group. It's the Dragon's Gates people. There are so many experts. Unexpectedly, the Dragon's Gate actually gathered so many outstanding young talents. That's not right. There seems to be some other outstanding talents of the Heavenly Starry Ocean mixed in. Could they all be the Dragon's Gates people now? That should not be the case. After all, the Heavenly Starry Ocean's Gate is the only major sect left. Only the Dragon's Gate can take the lead. The arrival of the Dragon's Gate's people made the Heavenly Dew Divine spring even livelier. After a while, 3 strong auras rushed over. They were the fiend races Bai, Yuan Su and Kong Yuan. More and more people arrived. Sima Lingxian, Ba Tu and Ba Yan, the descendants and disciples of the 13 great bandits of the Black Sea, rushed over as well. Demonic Qi? Suddenly, someone sensed the presence of a trace of demonic Qi, which immediately alerted countless people. However, when they saw the owner of the demonic Qi, they relaxed slightly. The one who came was the human demon C's absolute genius, Dugu Ao. Dugu Ao seemed to feel that his identity was somewhat complicated, so he did not stick close to the crowd. Instead, he stood far away, closing his eyes and entering deep thought. Dugu Ao was a demon mixed blood. However, now that the human demon C had joined the Kunlun realm's camp, they could be considered on the same side. Although the people here hated the demons to the bone, they would not make a move on their companions. After half a day, nearly all the outstanding young talents of the entire Kunlun realm had gathered here. However, no matter how the crowd counted, they discovered that there was a very important person who did not come. Diwuk. As the divine son, Xiaochen possessed outstanding talent. His strength was even more so. However, everyone knew that there was a huge rift between Xiaochen and Xiaochen. This time, Xiaochen was leading the Demon Resistance Alliance. No one knew if Xiaochen would put down his grudge and rush over. Xiaoju? Diwuk. Are you sure he is not coming? Could it be that he is going to be a coward? Someone mocked with a cold smile. He is probably too embarrassed to come. Before the Blue Dragon King rose up, he was always at odds with Xiaochen, trying to kill him several times. Xiaoju showed a troubled expression, not knowing how to answer. Humph! A cold snort rang out, and golden light filled the sky. A person bathed in golden light appeared above everyone. Who else could it be but Diwuk? Diwuk coldly glanced at the people mocking him. Then he withdrew his aura and landed in a deserted place. Xiaochen's expression was cold, unreadable, as if he did not want anyone to get close to him. Only the youths that Xiaochen glared at felt pressure. Cold sweat trickled down their backs, not daring to say anything more. How strong! This was everyone's evaluation of Diwuk. He competed with Xiaochen for the title of Luck's favored one. Although he lost, his strength still rendered most people speechless. Not long after Diwuk arrived, a person flew over from the Kunlun Palace's peak. This person wore snow-white clothes, and his long hair fluttered in the wind. His face was delicate as he held his saber and landed firmly. The Blue Dragon King Xiaochen. The moment this person landed, he immediately attracted everyone's attention. Many gazes either showed respect or helplessness, looking incredibly complicated. Whoosh! 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 Not long after Xiaochen appeared, many older generation experts landed and stood behind him. The 7 primes, the 5 elders of the Kunlun Palace, the 13 great bandits of the Black Sea, and the various holy lords. They were all powerful experts, influential people. However, these people all followed behind Xiaochen silently. There was no need to describe the identity of the strongest person in the Kunlun realm. Clearly, the experts of both the old and new generations gathered for one purpose: to resist the demons and save the Kunlun realm. Diwuk looked at Xiaochen and said slowly, "Unexpectedly, I will fight alongside you one day. Even my master will stand behind you." Xiaochen said calmly, "The demonic calamity is coming. Naturally, we have to put down all grudges. I welcome you coming." At Xiaochen's height, standing at the peak of the Kunlun realm, many of the grudges of the past were like floating clouds at the summit. Chapter 1526. The experts of both the old and the new generations gathered here. Nearly all the martial emperor experts of the entire Kunlun realm were here. There were more than 2,000 of them. It was hard to imagine that so many martial emperors would step forward. Aside from the many young experts rising up in the Golden Age, many white-haired old men who had retired from the world and lived in seclusion all stepped forward at this moment. With the old and the new doubling, the number of experts in the Kunlun realm reached its highest in the past 10,000 years. After the peak of the martial epic past, rarely had so many Emperor Wu appeared in another age. Perhaps the heavenly Tao knew of the danger this time, and could not bear to see the Kunlun realm destroyed. However, the situation was still not optimistic. Although there were many Emperor Wu, there were only 100-odd sovereign martial emperors. Compared to the vast number of Emperor Wu, there were simply too few. After all, the Golden Age gave these geniuses too little time to grow. Not every outstanding talent could be as lucky as Shui Lingling, Bai Wuxia, Yin Shisan, and the others, obtaining their own fortuitous encounters. In a very short time, they succeeded in being conferred king, advancing to sovereign martial emperor. What a pity! There are so many outstanding talents here. They are much stronger than our generation. If they had more time, they would not be like this. How unfortunate. If they had another 10 years, no, just 5 years, it would have been enough. The many older generation cultivators sighed as they looked at the group of young outstanding talents. Xiaochen felt deeply moved. The treasure master probably saw this point as well, which was why he decided to make a move. The treasure master would not give the Kunlun realm any chance. Suddenly, Xiaochen opened his heavenly eye, and a divine eye shot out from it. Then it flew out, crossing mountains, rivers, and cities for 5,000 kilometers. After flying for 5,000 kilometers, it hovered in the air like Xiaochen's eyes, looking at the treasure master's island. All of a sudden, he saw a shocking scene. The air was filled with demonic race cultivators riding demonic beasts. They were so densely packed that they looked like ants. Their numbers were unimaginable. There were also several powerful demonic beasts that gave off emperor's might. They led the demonic beasts around them, waiting for orders like sovereigns. These were demon king-level ferocious beasts. They were no weaker than sovereign martial emperors of the Kunlun realm. There were flaming demon lions, black gold snakes, twin-headed demonic eagles, and many others. Xiaochen was shocked. There were so many king-level beasts among the demonic beasts. The situation was not looking good. However, this was not what he wanted to see. The god eyes hovering in the air turned, and his gaze pierced through the layers of barriers covering the treasure master island. Xiaochen saw a square. In the middle of the square, there was a black altar. Boundless demonic chi rose, and it was especially frightening. What was even more frightening was that a soul that could be seen with the naked eye would occasionally rise from the dark altar cavern. His face contorted as if he was screaming in pain as he was sucked into the dark clouds in the sky. Before the altar, Xing Wang and Fa Wang stood beside the treasure master. Behind them were the 18 demon monarchs, followed by the sovereign martial emperors of the demon race, and finally, the ordinary Emperor Wu of the demon race. A rough count put the number of Emperor Wu of the demon race at least 2,000. What was even more frightening was the number of sovereign martial emperors. There were more than 400 of them. Furthermore, there were those king-level demonic beasts. Emperor Wu had 2 to 3 times more than the Kunlun realm. This was an extremely terrifying number. Xiaochen could imagine what kind of enormous pressure the Kunlun realm's Emperor Wu would face at that time. Could he hold on? Xiaochen was not confident. Xiaochen fixed his gaze on the treasure master's back, feeling somewhat complicated. Church master, someone is watching you. The treasure master did not turn his head back. He said indifferently, I know. Help me deal with it. Is it the Blue Dragon King? Interesting. As Xing Wang spoke, he suddenly turned around. His gaze immediately met the heavenly eye hovering in the air extremely far away. On the other side, Fa Wang also turned around at this moment. He smiled and said, I'll test him out first. Not just anyone can watch me. Suddenly, a black flame appeared on Fa Wang's fingertip. Then he pointed at the air, and the black flame released a boundlessly resplendent black light in Xiaochen's eyes. Whoosh! What a strange flame! Xiaochen's heart skipped a beat as he quickly withdrew his gaze. However, he was already too late. A beam of black light quickly headed for the heavenly eye. Divine lightning eye. With a thought, Xiaochen drove the 10,000 tribulation divine lightning in his sea of consciousness. The heavenly eye, which was millions of kilometers away, immediately sent out a bolt of lightning tribulation to strike the strange black demonic flame. Then he quickly stopped circulating, and the heavenly eye quickly flew back. You can break Fa Wang's abyssal demonic flame, but can you dodge Xing Wang's axe? Xing Wang smiled coldly. Suddenly, an axe with black chains at the end fell from above the heavenly eye in the distance, hacking at Xiao Chen's heavenly eye. Scatter. At the crucial moment, Xiao Chen chose to scatter his heavenly eye. The heavenly eye immediately scattered into countless beams of light, dodging this axe strike. The price of forcibly scattering his heavenly eye would prevent Xiao Chen from using the heavenly eye for some time. However, this was still better than smashing the other party's axe. After all, eye techniques were not Xiao Chen's strong suit. There were not many ways he could salvage the situation. At Kunlun Mountain, after scattering his heavenly eye, Xiao Chen took a step back, his expression changing slightly. Blue Dragon King, what's going on? What did you see? The people at the side asked quickly, knowing that Xiao Chen was using an eye technique. They urgently wanted to know the movements of the demonic world. Xiao Chen did not rush to answer. His face suddenly sank, and the Dao disc of great Dao energy appeared behind him. Then it condensed into a line and Xiao Chen shouted, Dao! Immediately, Saber Dao energy that surpassed Saber Intent, Saber Soul, and Saber Domain surged in Xiao Chen's body. His long hair fluttered. In an instant, Xiao Chen was like a sharp, unsheathed saber, boundlessly sharp. The surrounding people unconsciously took a step back. Xiao Chen pointed with his finger, and a saber light flashed like lightning. Kassier. 5 million kilometers away. This saber light struck the axe that seemed to fall from the sky. On the Treasure Master Island, Xingwang took a step back. Blood leaked out of a corner of his lips as he revealed a berserk expression. Xingwang actually lost to Xiao Chen from a distance. Enough. You are not a match for him. There is no need to let your emotions affect your decisions. Continue paying respects to the demonic god. We will be heading out soon. Yes. The rage in Xingwang's eyes vanished. After the treasure master reprimanded him, he stretched out his hand and withdrew the strange axe. On Kunlun Mountain, Xiao Chen gave a simple account of what he saw and experienced. Everyone was startled. Unexpectedly, in just a few moments, Xiao Chen already clashed with the 2 vice church masters of the Dark Church. Prepare yourselves. They will charge over before sunset tomorrow at the soonest. Xiao Chen said softly as he rested with his eyes closed. The place fell silent. However, no one retreated amid the silence. They all quietly brewed. 2 hours passed, 4 hours passed, and just as the setting sun was about to set, the sky in the distance suddenly darkened, as if night had descended early. They are here. Indeed, the demon race had arrived. Those black clouds covered the sky. This was the main force of the demon race. The final battle had not started yet, but a bitter atmosphere had already spread. Everyone knew that this battle could not be avoided. The demon race had already retreated to the last step. Kunlun Mountain was the final barrier. There was no way to continue retreating. Either you die or I die. Once defeated, one would become a slave or even a sacrifice. Their family and friends might suffer the same tragedy as the cultivators of the heavenly starry ocean, dying painful and cruel deaths. They could not retreat or be defeated. On the mountain peak, be it the outstanding talents of the younger generation or the older generation cultivators, their eyes all turned bloodshot. They were like wild beasts, wild and raging. Behind Kunlun Mountain, many war chariots and warships carrying the high-ranked cultivators of the Kunlun realm appeared. These were troops made up of the blue-robed emperor, martial sages, and martial monarchs. There were tens of millions of cultivators of the various races. They were insignificant. However, when gathered together, they were even stronger than Emperor Wu and the blue-robed emperor on the mountain. They were extremely important. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. 1 hour later, the demon army arrived. The treasure master led the 18 demon monarchs and the 2 vice church masters to the very front, coldly eyeing the people of Kunlun Mountain. Seeing the vast army, many of the youths on the mountain felt their arms tremble slightly. However, no one took even half a step back. Haha, I have many old friends, and I am not a heartless person. As long as Emperor Wu enters my dark church, he will not die. The treasure master said as he looked at the cyclic astral lord, Xiao Chun, and the others. Scram. You bastard. You killed the people of my Kunlun realm like pigs and dogs, sacrificing them to the demonic god. You want us to surrender? Dream on. Even if we die in battle, We will not surrender to you. The crowd raged. Several Emperor Wu, who had lost relatives in the heavenly starry ocean, cursed loudly. Countless people followed suit, shouting, "We will not surrender even if we die." That's exactly what I wanted. The more sacrifices, the better. The treasure master said coldly, not caring. Suddenly, Xiaochen opened his eyes and looked at the treasure master. His eyes flickered with electric light. The treasure master stared at the other party and said through clenched teeth, enunciating every word, "Senior Thunder King, it has already reached this point. Are you still going to continue lying?" Chapter 1527. What? The two armies faced each other, the decisive battle at hand. However, Xiaochen said something that shocked everyone in the Kunlun Realm's camp. "Xiaochen, what did you say?" "The Thunder King already went to the Kunlun Road. It is impossible for him to appear." This news deeply shocked the myriad Law Fiend Master. He thought that Xiaochen was joking. Xiaochen asked indifferently, "Did you personally see him walk the Kunlun Road?" "No." "Do you know who dealt the fatal blow to the Qing Emperor 10,000 years ago?" "It was him." 2,000 years ago, who dealt the fatal blow to the Thunder King? "It was him." Why did the entire Kunlun realm fall into chaos the moment he left? Why? After the Qing Emperor died, the treasure master's residence quickly rose up in the heavenly starry ocean. I have never believed in coincidences. However, there are too many coincidences, which makes one suspicious. Xiaochen's expression did not change at all, as he calmly voiced his opinion. "Xiaochen, although I respect you as my brother, don't slander my master." The Thunder and Lightning Palaces in Juanxi said in dissatisfaction, not liking Xiaochen speaking of his master like that. The other experts on good terms with the Thunder King all spoke up, dissatisfied with Xiaochen's words. Such a scene surprised the 18 demon monarchs. They smiled coldly as they watched the internal conflict in the Kunlun Realm's camp. "Xiaochen, this is just your guess. Without concrete evidence, you cannot casually convict the Thunder King." Ying Zongtian frowned slightly. Clearly, he was also dissatisfied with Xiaochen's words. The Thunder King's prestige was unexpectedly high. With just these words, the morale of the Kunlun Realm's camp fell into chaos. Xiaochen did not say anything. Many times, without evidence, it might not be the truth. Although Xiaochen could not see the other party's appearance with his heavenly eye, he could see the other party's eyes. If it was just a guess before, after seeing the other party's gaze, Xiaochen was deeply suspicious. Although he had never seen the Thunder King's true body, he had seen the eyes of the Thunder King's clone during the king conferral ceremony. Whether it was the real body or the avatar, a person's gaze was the shining point of their inner spirit. It had nothing to do with his physical body. His eyes could not lie. The Treasure Lord's eyes were too similar to the Thunder King's. At that time, Xiaochen's heart was somewhat shaken. Later, when he tried to probe, he was not willing to believe that it was a coincidence, nor was he willing to accept this fact. But the result made him sad and tired. The divine lightning eye, which could severely injure a prime, had no effect on the treasure master. If he was not an expert at the peak of the way of thunder and lightning, it would be impossible for him to achieve such a result. Just this point alone was enough to prove Xiaochen's guess. Not to mention, there were many coincidences before, which already explained the problem. Ignoring the dissatisfaction and disbelief of the others, Xiaochen continued to look at the treasure master. He asked sullenly, "Senior Thunder King, are you still going to continue deceiving me now? Perhaps this is the last time I address you as Senior, Lord Dark Church's church master." Silence. The treasure master did not refute. This made everyone who doubted Xiaochen turn their gazes to him. Facing the many gazes, the treasure master, whose appearance remained shrouded in fog, making it impossible to see through him, said, "Why the need to seek the truth so bitterly? There are some things that are better not knowing than knowing." Boom. This was a bolt from the blue. The treasure master's words were equivalent to tacitly acknowledging Xiaochen's guess. Many people could not accept this. The treasure master felt dizzy. He had always respected the Thunder King, seeing him even more seriously than his father. The Thunder King was in Juanxi's faith his motivation to advance. It was like the god in Njuanshi's heart suddenly crumbled. Njuanshi felt like he had fallen into an ice cave, dispirited and in incredible pain. The people of the Thunder and Lightning Palace did not feel good either. Their emotions were not much different from Njuanshi's. Zongtian, the myriad law fiend master, and the other old friends could not accept this, either, showing complicated expressions. This was especially so for Zongtian. He had a good personal relationship with the Thunder King. This was a rather big blow to him. On the other hand, the 18 demon monarchs calmed down after some shock. It did not matter who the Dark Church's churchmaster was. It was sufficient as long as he could control the Dark Church. Xing Wang and Fa Wang did not feel surprised at all. It was like they had known this secret long ago. Treasure Master, don't lie to me. My master is absolutely not the Dark Church's churchmaster. And Njuanshi roared with all his might, refusing to believe this fact. Whoosh. The hazy layer of black chi on the Treasure Master's face vanished, revealing a face that resembled the Thunder King's. The Treasure Master's facial features were exactly the same as the Thunder King's. Even his aura was the same, there was no difference at all. It really is the Thunder King. At this moment, the Treasure Master's identity was verified. This dealt a heavy blow to everyone in the Kunlun Realm's camp. Everyone had a question in their hearts. Why? Just as everyone was feeling bewildered, an ugly saber scar suddenly appeared on the right side of the Thunder King's face. The Thunder King's entire aura suddenly changed, surging with a sinister aura. It was terrifying and horrifying, putting immense pressure on everyone. The Thunder King touched the saber scar on his face with his right hand. As he looked at Xiao Chun, intense hatred flashed in his eyes. He said sullenly, "This is something that your Qing Emperor ancestor left for me 10,000 years ago. Even if I do my best to suppress it, I can only hide this saber scar for 3 days. Today, I will return the pain and torture that this saber strike brought me to you 10-fold, 100-fold. Xiaochen entered deep thought. This saber strike should have come from when the Qing Emperor sneak attacked the Qing Emperor back then. No wonder it could not be removed. It was very easy for a regular Emperor Wu to remove a scar. However, if this saber strike came from the Qing Emperor, then it would be a different story. The scar had already penetrated deep into the marrow, blood, and even the soul. Even if the other party did his best to suppress it, he could only hide it for 3 days. Suppressing it like that should be something that exhausted the mind. Hence, when the other party was still the Thunder King, he spent most of his time in closed-door cultivation. Now that Xiaochen thought about it, concealing it must have been an extremely painful and troublesome thing. That was why the other party's hatred for the Qing Emperor ran so deep. Give me an answer. Why did you lie to me? Zongtian's heart turned cold. He simply could not stand the feeling of being lied to. Why did you lie to me? Do you think that I can live for more than 10,000 years without a reason and still not die? You are the one who cannot figure it out. Zongtian, I have never lied to you. I am the Thunder King, the Treasure Master, and the Dark Church's Churchmaster. I have never lied to anyone. Like you, I hope that Xiaochen can mature. Otherwise, how could he turn the Kunlun realm upside down? In the battle to advance to Martial Emperor, blood dyed the sky red, causing half of the Kunlun realm's Emperor Wu to die. You and him are both my pawns. Furthermore, you are both willing pawns. I have never lied to you. I also want to leave this damned abandoned land. I will not age or die. If you were me, back then, when the previous Dark Church's Churchmaster sought you out, you would have agreed to be his successor. It seemed like the Thunder King had held back these words for a long time. Now that he said them in one breath, he felt much more relaxed. Many people were startled when they heard this. Unexpectedly, there was someone with such deep schemes. Xiao Chen's schemes were so broad that he toyed with all the people of the Kunlun realm in the palm of his hand. Zongtian remained expressionless. His expression turned even colder as he shook his head and said, "Don't find excuses for yourself. Everyone has their own principles. You just fell for your own principles. The victor is king, and the loser is in the wrong. The so-called principles are meant to be trampled." The Thunder King swept his cold gaze over the people of the Kunlun realm's camp. Then he said, "On account of our past friendship, I'll give you all one more chance. As long as you are willing to surrender and believe in the demonic god, I can show mercy. Show mercy? Just use your filthy hands and draw your treasure sword. I, Xiaochen, will never surrender to you. Xiaochen frowned coldly, ignoring Injunyi. The demonic sect slaughtered my Kunlun realm compatriots like pigs and dogs. You want me to surrender? Dream on. Sorry, master. This is the last time I will call you master. I cannot agree to it this time. And Juanqi's expression was even scarier than Ning Zongtian's. It hurt so much that he did not feel pain in his heart, only a chill and numbness spreading throughout his body. We will not surrender even to the death. Ha ha. Good, good, good. 18 demon monarchs, heed my command. Kill everyone in the Kunlun realm without mercy. I want to wash the Kunlun mountain in blood. When the treasure master heard the many people swearing not to surrender, he laughed maniacally and gave the order to massacre. Dao might spread out from Xiaochen's body. With a thought, a war banner appeared behind him. As the war banner fluttered in the wind, Xiaochen looked at the vast and boundless demon army. Then he said, "Protect the Kunlun realm. Our family and friends are behind us. We absolutely cannot retreat. Kill." The final battle between the Kunlun realm and the demonic world began. Chapter 1528. Kill. The battle was on the verge of breaking out. The sky was instantly dyed red with blood. A torrential rain of blood mixed with severed limbs rained down. What kind of scene was that? In the sky, on the ground, everywhere one could see was a bloody battle. This was a true doomsday. In an instant, hundreds of thousands of living beings died on the spot. The air was filled with the thick smell of blood. Everyone's eyes were bloodshot. The 18 demon emperors of the demon clan dropped their hands. The celestial demon emperor's demonic shadow palm fell, and 10 Emperor Wus died on the spot. A supreme being, to a lesser celestial Emperor Wu, could be killed in an instant. There was no chance for him to retaliate. The 7 primes of the Kunlun realm attacked together. The heaven-punishing corpse god was like a ferocious beast in human form as he rampaged about. Those who stood in front of him were smashed to death and turned into a mist of blood. Finally, the Iron Demon Monarch of the 18 Demon Monarchs blocked Xiaochen's path and laughed strangely. These two powerhouses with pinnacle physical bodies quickly clashed with each other. Their fists collided directly with each other. The Iron Demon race was innately impervious to swords and spears, and the corpse race's fleshly body was similarly not inferior. What was even more advantageous was that the corpse race was intelligent from a young age. They could practice cultivation techniques and martial techniques. They had an extremely deep foundation. Even if the Iron Demon's physical body was stronger, it would not be easy to deal with the corpse race. The eldest brother, Ing Zongtian, opened his palm and a strong light burst out. The sun behind him soared into the sky, and he struck out with his palm. The radiance of the sun spread out, and an empty space immediately appeared in front. All the demonic beasts and human cultivators would die. So. Of the 18 demon monarchs, the figures of the Ice Demon Monarch and the Flower Demon Monarch flashed, clashing with Big Brother Ing. Emperor Forsaken stood on top of the Divine Kingdom. He was also fighting 1 against 2, resisting the Celestial Demon Emperor and a supreme demonic beast. A steady stream of faith power poured into his body, causing his body to grow bigger and bigger. With the divine sword in his hand, he was like a real deity, unbelievably powerful. The peak primes of the Kunlun realm were all extremely strong. However, the situation was still not optimistic. Because there were too few of them, each of them basically had to face 2 people at a time, so they couldn't split up. Several king-grade demonic beasts were ferocious and bloodthirsty. They tore the corpses of the Kunlun realm cultivators with one swipe of their claws. Then they opened their mouths wide and ate with relish. These powerful magical beasts all had their own intelligence. They were extremely cunning and vicious. Ha 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 ha. This feels great. It's been a long time since I've drunk blood to my heart's content. This is much more delicious compared to the flesh of other magical beasts. A black demonic condor spoke the human language. Every time it attacked, its hard claws would bring forth a rain of blood. After that, The eagle opened its beak wide and swallowed the remains of dozens of cultivators, appearing extremely cruel. The eyes of the 10 blue-robed emperor-level martial artists were bloodshot. They wanted to avenge their companions. However, the difference in strength was too great, and this was like trying to smash a rock with an egg. You overestimate yourself. The black demon condor snorted coldly. Pa! Just as it was about to pounce and kill again. A whip with flickering lightning bolts lashed at it ruthlessly. Bastard die. It was Juanshi. His true dragon lightning whip lashed through the air, mangling this demon condor, and sending its feathers flying everywhere. The black demon condor roared furiously. I'm going to kill you and swallow you alive. You guys go first. Leave this to me. And Juanshi said to the 10 blue-robed emperor-level martial artists. Many thanks, young hero, and after the other Emperor Wu thanked Juanshi, they immediately rushed to the other battlefields. On the other side of the battlefield, Shimen Bao rushed over and hugged a humanoid demonic wolf. No matter how that demonic wolf tore at his body, Shimen Bao did not let go. Just a second ago, 2 of Shimen Bao's seniors died in the mouths of this demonic wolf to protect him. Kase. Blood spurted out as the other side of Shimen Bao's body was torn off. However, Shimen Bao's only hand still held on tightly. Ha ha ha. Die, you stinky dog. Shimen Bao laughed loudly and chose to self-detonate, dying together with this demonic wolf that was far stronger than him. Not far away, Shimen Bao's good friend, the outstanding talent of the battle realms, Niu Deng, had bloodshot eyes as he roared, Shimen Bao. However, no matter how Niu Deng shouted, he could not change the result. In the intense explosion, Shimen Bao died without a complete corpse. Kill. When Niu Deng saw this scene, he immediately went berserk, going berserk. Niu Deng held his saber and chopped down, ignoring the wounds on his body. As Shui Lingling stood on the profound sunbird, she held the Emperor Yi shooting sunbow in her hand. This transcendent divine weapon continuously fired arrows. Her arrows were arrows that could kill, but they were also arrows that could save lives. Countless demons and demonic beasts died miserably under these arrow lights. Her arrow lights also saved countless Kunlun realm cultivators. Her figure flickered in the air, appearing ethereal and unfathomable. She remained expressionless, already numb to killing. Not long after the battle started, before both sides clashed, the Kunlun realm's camp had already lost more than 100 Emperor Wus. Below Emperor Wu, there were even more deaths. The demon race's losses were equally startling, perhaps even more. This made Xing Wang and Fa Wang frown slightly. Unexpectedly, the various races of the Kunlun realm, which originally had intense internal strife, were so united in this final battle. Xiao Chun and the Kunlun Palace's palace master did not make a move. This was because Xing Wang, Fa Wang, and the treasure master, the Thunder King, did not make a move either. Many cultivators charged over to Xiao Chen's side, and all sorts of intense battles ensued. Xiao Chen's already calm heart could not help but ripple. A baleful air appeared on his face. Xiao Chen, don't ever let the baleful air control you. Otherwise, today's battle will cast a shadow on you. Your future path of martial arts can be considered as crippled. You still have a long way to go. You still have a long way to go. The Kunlun Palace's palace master, the Saber Demon, who was of the same generation as the Thunder King, said calmly. Xiao Chen nodded and said, I will control it. It's time for me to make a move. The Saber Demon's expression changed, and he suddenly vanished from Xiao Chen's side. This was because Xing Wang and Fa Wang also moved at this moment. The Saber Demon drew his saber. It was an extremely strange scimitar that looked like a crescent moon, flickering with a scarlet light. Saber Demon, after not seeing you for 1,000 years, let me see if your saber techniques have improved. Xing Wang laughed loudly, and his axe, which was connected to a chain, charged into the air. The sinister Fa Wang smiled coldly, and an abyssal demonic flame burned on his fingertips as he moved silently. Both sides were very familiar with each other. Soon they started fighting. The Saber Demon was very strong. Even when fighting 1 against 2, he did not end up at a disadvantage. Xiao Chun looked at the treasure master. The entire world seemed to vanish. There was only the treasure master in his eyes. This was a strong opponent. 10,000 years ago, The Treasure Master was second only to the Qing Emperor. For the past 10,000 years, the Treasure Master had been the strongest person of the Kunlun realm. Furthermore, he had hidden his strength. Even though the Treasure Master had already surpassed Prime, comprehended Great Tao energy, cultivated the Thunder Domain, the Ice Domain, and the Blue Dragon War body, he still could not be careless when facing this person. Against this person, he could not afford to be careless at all. After all, it was very likely that a single mistake would result in death. The price of death would be the destruction of the entire Kunlun realm. The price was too high. The Treasure Master could not bear it. The lunar shadow saber trembled slightly. It was not clear whether it was excited or nervous to face the true culprit of Sang Mu's death. Xiao Chun, you are not a match for me. Back then, the Qing Emperor fell at my hands. Today you will fall at my hands as well. However, this time, you will not be as lucky as the Qing Emperor. The Treasure Master, the Thunder King, smiled coldly and punched at Xiao Chun. Boom! Loud thunder burst out of the Thunder King's body. Resplendent electricity flickered on his fist. The sky suddenly turned dark, and dense thunderclouds filled the sky. Xiao Chun shouted, and the 10,000 dragon force in his body spread out. Countless dragon-shaped strands of energy reverberated in the air. When facing the Thunder King's punch, Xiao Chun did not show any fear. He clenched his fist, and tens of thousands of strands of energy gathered, forming a dragon cauldron on his fist light. Bang! The two fists clashed, and the two quickly moved back. Shock flashed in their eyes. Xiao Chun was shocked by his opponent's lightning-attributed energy, while the Thunder King was shocked by Xiao Chun's vital qi. Unexpectedly, after the dragon cauldron was formed, it would be so strong. Interesting. However, this is just the beginning. My lightning-attributed energy has already mutated. Take this properly. The Thunder King snorted coldly, and the purple lightning on his body suddenly changed, turning into black lightning. Bolts of black lightning extended from his body, spreading out like a spider web, looking as terrifying as the tentacles of a demonic god. Xiao Chun narrowed his eyes. This is lightning. It actually merged with the purest demonic qi of the demonic world. The lightning contained many negative energies: grief, worry, horror, despair, and pain. When mixed together, it looked incredibly ugly. Chapter 1529. Xiao Chun frowned slightly. This lightning was truly strange. Although the other party had not broken through the Thunder Domain and comprehended the Thunder Tao like Xiao Chun, he had already cultivated his lightning-attributed energy to the peak. However, Xiao Chun had already cultivated his lightning-attributed energy to the peak, even opening up a new path and coming up with new tricks. Xiao Chun's Great Tao energy of the Saber Tao was still in its initial stages, so he might not have much of an advantage. Again. The Thunder King shouted. The scar on his face looked exceptionally sinister as he punched again. His movement technique was exquisite. With every step he took in the air, electric light flickered under his feet. It was like he was walking on flat ground. The force under his feet was very heavy, making his aura exceptionally stable. The condensed thunder might was like a mountain. As it flickered, it moved forward step by step, as if the mountain peaks were connected. By the time it reached Xiao Chun, it had formed a majestic mountain range that rose and fell undulating endlessly. The force of this punch looked ordinary. However, it was extremely mighty and had many tricks up its sleeves. With one glance, Xiao Chun could tell that this punch was completely different from the earlier one. Xiao Chun sheathed the lunar shadow saber at his waist, and a vast Tao might spread out. A faint Tao disc appeared behind him, flickering with a weak saber light. As the Tao disc slowly spun, Xiao Chun's Tao might sank like an erupting volcano storing up energy. When the other party's fist light approached, Xiao Chun shouted coldly and punched decisively. Bang! 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 The two punches clashed, each strike striking the other's body. The two clashed head-on. The sound was even louder than thunder. The sound waves that erupted out made one's heart tremble. However, the strange thing was that the space around the two did not break. That was because their auras were simply too powerful, too condensed, and firmly locked down the surrounding space. The black lightning on the Thunder King fist light contained countless kinds of negative emotions. Although it looked like an ordinary punch, in reality, it was full of changes. Every move had a different state. Furthermore, it created all sorts of horrifying illusions for Xiaochen. Xiaochen's heart remained unmoved. His state of cycle continuously changed as well. Slaughter, destruction, despair, pain, grief, and death formed one illusion after another, dispelling the interference of the other party's negative emotions. After fighting for half a day, the two of them exchanged more than 1,000 moves. Neither of them could do anything to the other. The war between the Kunlun realm and the demonic world also reached its climax. Tens of millions of cultivators, demons, and demonic beasts from both sides clashed. Tragic sounds of fighting could be heard endlessly. It was like hell on earth, the end of the world. As time passed, the situation became increasingly disadvantageous to the Kunlun realm. The demonic world's kings outnumbered the Kunlun realms by 3 times. At first, they could barely hold on, but slowly, the 1-on-2 turned into a 1-on-3, and then a 1-on-4. The results were getting worse and worse. Am I going to die? The thunder and lightning palaces in Juanxi was incomparably fatigued. He could no longer remember how many demons and demonic beasts he had killed. In the end, he was stopped by 3 king-level demons, Emperor Wu. Fighting 1 against 3, he was gradually losing ground. 2 sovereign martial emperors of the thunder demon race, and a 3-headed demon hound looked at him coldly. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Suddenly, boundless snow drifted down. Amid the snowflakes, a huge ice palm smashed into the 3-headed demon hound. Kassier. The huge ice palm was like an ice mountain as it smashed the 3-headed demon hound into pieces. And Juanxi, are you going to give up so soon? The one who came was by Wuxia. When he saw that Juanxi was in danger, he immediately rushed over to provide support. Don't worry. I absolutely will not die before you do. Ha! And Juanxi felt a warmth in his heart. He laughed loudly and said, Come, let's attack together. Good. The two fought side by side, not exchanging any pleasantries. Then they threw themselves back into battle. While Juanxi could be saved, Xia Hojue would not be so lucky. By the time his father put down his opponent and rushed over, Xia Hojue had already died. When his father put down his opponent and rushed over, Juanxi's lower body had already been bitten off by a king-grade demonic wolf. His aura was very weak, and he would die soon. My son. The white tiger holy lord could not help shouting hoarsely, tears streaming down his face. Xiaoju smiled bitterly and reached out to touch his father's face. He said, Lord Father, don't be sad. This child failed to live up to your expectations. My greatest regret in this life is losing face at the king conferral ceremony, letting down your efforts. I'm really sorry. Don't say any more. It's all in the past. Don't worry. I'll bring you away. I'll treat you. Go. Where can we go? The Kunlun realm will be gone. Where will our home be? Lord Father. Before Xiaoju could finish speaking, he suddenly smacked the ground with his right palm. It was like the final radiance of the setting sun. Half of Xiaoju's body soared into the air, flying towards a huge demonic snake. Then, there was an intense explosion with a loud bang. Xiaoju perished together with that king-grade demonic snake, dying without a complete corpse. Ah! The 3 holy masters could not help feeling grief. They roared with bloodshot eyes. Damn it! Brother Xia. The profound martial gate's holy son Feng Wuji, who had grown up with Xiaoju, was stunned for a moment. The price for this moment was a few more wounds on his body. Tragic scenes played out everywhere. The Kunlun realm cultivators, who held a numerical disadvantage, had to do their best to fight. This was because there was already no way out. The people behind the mountains were all innocent people and low-level cultivators who were not even martial monarchs. To the demonic world, these people were like sacrifices and food. They could not resist at all. Chu Yang, I'm very tired. I think I'm going to sleep. The Moon Palace's holy daughter paled as she lay weakly on Chu Yang's back in Zodiac Hall. She seemed to be talking in her sleep. In that case, go to sleep. Don't think too much. I'll wake you up. Chu Yang smiled gently. The sword light in his hand was as resplendent as the sun. chopping a blood demon Emperor Wu in half. Although Chu Yang was smiling, tears flowed down silently from the corners of his eyes. All right. In that case, remember to wake me up. I'm going to sleep. Fu Hongyao no longer showed any signs of life. His arm holding Chu Yang fell silently. Pusiai. Pusiai. Chu Yang, who had already forced back several groups of blood demon martial emperors, suffered several sword wounds. Before he could say anything, he vomited a large mouthful of blood. A few blood demon martial emperors drew their swords, and Chu Yang fell to his knees. Chu Yang, who had already exhausted all his primordial energy, simply could not treat this wound. His life force drained rapidly, but he could not do anything about it. Sorry, I can't wake you up. Right after Chu Yang spoke, he fell to the ground, dying together with Fu Hongyao. Damn. They are finally dead. These two dogs are already dead, yet they are still stuck together. Split them up and tear them into 10,000 pieces. A blood demon martial emperor said coldly as he vomited a mouthful of blood. Suddenly, a ghostly sword light swept by, and the heads of a few blood demon cultivators, who were about to take action, flew up, instantly chopped in half. A blood demon martial emperor immediately exclaimed in horror. Who? Who is playing tricks? Yin Shisan. Kasie. At some point in time, the swordsman of killing, Yin Shisan, appeared behind this blood demon martial emperor. With a backhand swing, he stabbed the blood demon martial emperor's heart of an emperor, instantly killing him. When Yin Shisan saw the two corpses tangled together on the ground, he could not help stopping, even though he did not care much about life and death. Whoosh! Whoosh! Yin Shisan showed a cold expression as he looked at the two corpses, not moving at all. However, Yin Shisan continuously swung his sword with his right hand. He did not even look behind him. Sword lights flashed, chopping up a group of blood demon cultivators that tried to sneak up on him, causing them to scream miserably. In the end, Yin Shisan still left. He calmly scanned the battlefield. Most of the places needed reinforcements, so he chose the place with the most severe situation, and silently walked over. Yin Shisan's strength was unfathomable. He clearly possessed the strength of a ninth heaven martial emperor, but he did not leak out his aura at all. As Yin Shisan walked around the battlefield with a murderous sword, no one could stop him. Yin Shisan resolved another encirclement, and chopped off the head of the final enemy. Just as he was about to sheath his sword, just as he was about to withdraw his sword, the headless bodies of the demons exploded at nearly the same time. When the divine light scattered, Yin Shisan saw Di Wuk, who had just withdrawn his fist. The two former opponents met in such a manner. Your fist is slower than my sword, Yin Shisan said. Di Wuk smiled and said, however, my fist has killed more demons than your sword. However, no matter how many we kill, the two of us will not be able to turn the situation around. Di Wuk smiled sinisterly and said, do you dare to go big? Yin Shisan raised his eyebrows and said, speak. Di Wuk looked at the sky and muttered, the ones who can truly change the situation are the primes. However, our primes are all delayed by the other party. As long as we can have a prime free up, we can alleviate the current situation. Yin Shisan casually looked around. Aside from a few places, most of the people below prime were pushed back. Like the receding tide, the demon cultivators and ferocious beasts were boundless, surging over like a flood. Before such a general trend, the small victories that the two of them created seemed insignificant. As the demons gained an increasingly greater advantage, the two of them would soon be targeted and surrounded by true experts. If all the low-level demons lost, it would definitely affect the fight between the primes. Di Wuk narrowed his eyes as he looked at the celestial demon monarch, the earth demon monarch, and the shadow demon monarch, who were fighting Emperor Forsaken. He said, let's go and kill the primes. Do you dare? If you dare, why would I not? Yin Shisan had long since become indifferent to life and death. His killing sword Dao had never been afraid. Chapter 1530. Di Wuk said, good. Do you see the three people fighting with my master? The celestial demon monarch, the earth demon monarch, and the shadow demon monarch. These three are all primes. Among them, The celestial demon monarch is the main force. My master spends most of his energy dealing with this demon. The target is him? That's right. The other two primes are weaker. They rely on the power of faith of the millions of believers in the divine kingdom. As long as we eliminate the celestial demon monarch or severely injure him, my master will have a chance to make a move. Yan Shursen glanced at the situation of the battlefield. Overwhelming demonic chi filled the sky and ground. The entire Kunlun realm's formation was cut up. Several factions that could have formed strong combat prowess were beaten into a daze and could only retreat. If this continued, the Kunlun realm would soon reach the heavenly dew divine spring. Yan Shursen nodded and said, "Good. Tell me what to do." A ferocious look appeared in Di Wux's eyes as he said, "There is a forbidden technique in my myriad heaven divine fist, deities descending. I have never used it before. If I use the essence blood of the deity race as a catalyst, I can surpass my limits and bring out 30 times my combat prowess." Yan Shursen frowned slightly and said indifferently, "Your body cannot endure 10 times your combat prowess. Even if you do not die from 30 times your combat prowess, you will be crippled." As the two spoke, they stopped moving. Their figures flickered, and everywhere they passed, blood rained. Without a demon monarch making a move, the other demons would find it hard to block the two working together. Fist light and sword light swept through everything before them, killing everything in their way. The two were not greedy. They did not stop for more than 15 minutes at a time, not giving the demons a chance to trap them. Bang! With a casual punch, Di Wux sent out thousands of beams of divine light, directly shattering an iron demon. Even an iron demon could not block this fist light. This showed how strong his explosive power was. Xiao Chen's physical body had undergone a metamorphosis on the 9-colored Emperor's Road. Haha! If the Kunlun realm is gone, even if I live, I will be no different from a cripple. Di Wux said indifferently, "You have only one chance to make a move. I will use a forbidden technique to create a chance for you to use one sword strike. Be careful, there is only one sword. If you don't have this confidence, then don't bother playing with me." Yan Shursen casually swung his sword and chopped off the head of a winged demon. Then he said calmly, "Ever since you became famous, everyone in the world feared you. When have I, Yan Shursen, ever feared you?" Ha ha ha. Good. Good. As expected of Yan Shursen. If that person hadn't appeared out of nowhere, you would have been my greatest opponent in this life. Amidst Di Wux's maniacal laughter, the myriad divine halos that shot out from his body all entered his body. For a moment, his aura was restrained, and his eyes hid the sharpest edge of his life. Kacha. His heart split open, and a drop of his heart's blood flowed out of his body. His eyes suddenly turned blood red. His long hair fluttered in the wind. Every single strand of white hair seemed to be stained with fresh blood. Yan Shursen closed his eyes and sheathed his sword. He was about to execute the most magnificent sword move of his life. Perhaps, it would also be the last sword. Two youths were audacious enough to want to assassinate a prime. Furthermore, it was the celestial demon monarch, who was ranked first among the 18 demon monarchs. If such thoughts were exposed, it would probably be earth-shattering, making everyone laugh their heads off. However, that was what Yan Shursen and Di Wux did. Myriad heaven divine fist, deities descending. Di Wux shouted, and a scarlet light shone from his entire body. It was like he was possessed. Then he suddenly soared up and shot forward. The scarlet light contained Di Wux's heart's blood. It looked like a rain of blood. The dazzling scarlet light shocked every cultivator fighting in the battlefield for 5,000 kilometers around. In the sky and on the ground, in the Kunlun realm and the demonic world. They all felt this aura that was even more berserk than that of a prime. It was simply like a human-shaped volcano. It's him. The heaven-punishing prime's final disciple, Xingju, was currently leading the corpse race cultivators in a head-on clash with the Iron Demon. When he saw this scene, he was stunned. "It's Di Wux." Feng Wuji muttered to himself in disbelief. "This is crazy. What is he trying to do?" With one glance, everyone could tell that Di Wux definitely used a forbidden art. Otherwise, his aura would not be so horrifying. "Celestial Demon Monarch, receive a punch from me, Di Wux." The celestial demon monarch, who was currently exchanging moves with Emperor Forsaken, smiled coldly, not caring about Diwuk at all. You overestimate yourself. Above the divine kingdom, Emperor Forsaken's body became 3 kilometers tall due to the power of faith, looking like a divine being. Forbidden art. Bloodline forbidden art. At this moment, the celestial demon monarch's expression changed drastically. However, he could not stop it at all. Like a meteor exploding, a spot of divine light that looked like blood dripped on Diwuk's body in the sky. Deities descending, 10-fold combat prowess increased explosively again, reaching 30-fold combat prowess with this punch. Wuxia. Space shattered, and Diwuk looked like he teleported, appearing in front of the celestial demon monarch from nowhere. Blood leaked out of a corner of his lips as he laughed loudly and punched. Humph! You think you are worthy of dying together with me? The celestial demon monarch felt somewhat flustered. To think that this brat wanted to die together with him. Without even thinking, he executed his consummate demonic shadow palm. A demonic god image appeared behind the celestial demon monarch. A vast demonic might immediately suppress Diwuk's tyrannical aura. Then, the celestial demon monarch pushed out a palm to clash with this punch. Boom. The energy in Diwuk's body was already extremely unstable in the first place. The instant the fist and palm clashed, the energy surged. The emperor's body exploded on the spot, dying without a complete corpse. Cracks appeared in the demonic god image behind the celestial demon monarch, before it crumbled and vanished. Pusai. The celestial demon monarch vomited a large mouthful of blood as he retreated a few steps with an unsightly expression. Unexpectedly, Diwuk's final punch contained a strength that was even stronger than a prime's, severely injuring the celestial demon monarch. Flawless. Emperor Forsaken could only watch as Diwuk died before him. He simply could not accept it. Retreat. Qitian is going crazy. I absolutely cannot endure his blow right now. Fear welled up in the celestial demon monarch's heart as he quickly retreated. The earth demon monarch and the shadow demon monarch reacted very quickly, shielding the celestial demon monarch as he retreated. Killing sword Dao rage turns demonic. Clang. Suddenly, a sword hum, accompanied by the wails of ghosts and howls of wolves, rang out. Yen Shursan, who had his eyes tightly shut, opened them. Yen Shursan did not draw his sword. Just by opening his eyes, he exuded an unparalleled sword intent. He started practicing the sword at the age of 8, and had been practicing it for 30 years. He did not walk the usual path, walking the unconventional path, drawing his sword only to kill. Killing sword Dao, ultimate sword, rage turns demonic. Yen Shursan opened his eyes, drew his sword, and turned demonic. This final sword strike of his contained an overwhelming demonic chi. A demonic chi that made all the demon monarchs tremble. The sword went out of control, dragging Yen Shursan into the air. The celestial demon monarch, who had been guarding against Emperor Forsaken, could not react at all. This fatal sword strike chopped off his head from behind. What kind of sword could be so fast? What kind of sword could kill a demon with one strike? Only the demonic sword, Yen Shursan's final sword strike, was no longer under his control. It had become a thoroughly demonic sword. The celestial demon monarch died. His clone's body decayed, and he died on the spot. He did not even have time to say his last words. The strongest of the 18 demon monarchs died at the hands of 2 juniors of the Kunlun realm. Even in his wildest dreams, the celestial demon monarch would not have expected such a result. All the cultivators of the demonic world would not have guessed it even if they racked their brains. I, Yen Shursan, do not have many friends. Before I die, I count you Diwuk as one. Yen Shursan, whose eyes contained boundless demonic chi, squeezed out a smile, relying on his last bit of rationality. Yen Shursan shook his hand ferociously, and the sword shattered. Then he held the broken sword and stabbed it into his heart of an emperor. Rage turns demonic. With this final sword strike, Yen Shursan entered the demonic Dao. If he did not commit suicide, he would lose all rationality and become a killing machine, a humanoid demonic beast. As life essence flowed out, Yen Shursan's corpse slowly drifted down from the sky. The two outstanding talents of the current Kunlun realm, second only to Xiaoqun, fell just like that, exchanged for the head of the top demon monarch of the deep abyss demonic world. Many people silently shed tears. Their eyes turned bloodshot, and hatred surged in their hearts, hating that they could not kill all these demons. Emperor Forsaken felt indescribable grief. However, he knew that this was Diwuk's kind intentions. Xiaoqun wanted Xiaoqun to free up his hands and turn the situation around. Chapter 1531. Up in the sky, Xiaoqun, who was fighting the Thunder King, also learned of the deaths of Diwuk and Yan Shisan, as well as the horrifying scenes. Although the two were completely focused on the fight, their perception spread throughout the entire battlefield. They knew everything that was happening in every corner of the battlefield like the back of their hands. Damn it! Xiaoqun felt great pain in his heart. He could not help shouting. Is this the result you wanted? The Thunder King smiled coldly without any expression on his face. This is your doing. Just surrender obediently and hand over the Rock of Origin, and this will be the result. Dream on. Xiaoqun shouted and suddenly attacked, executing the myriad heaven divine fist deities descending once more. Xiaoqun's tenfold combat prowess burst out in an instant. The horrifying might and pressure made the raging Xiaoqun look exceptionally frightening. The Thunder King's expression turned grave. In the time it took for a spark to fly, he crisscrossed his hands and formed a black lightning shield filled with countless negative emotions. Bang! A surging fist force burst out, immediately knocking the Thunder King into the air. The black lightning shield shattered into ashes. The Thunder King wiped away the blood on his lips. However, he did not get angry. Instead, he smiled. Tenfold combat prowess is very damaging to you. You only had one chance to use it. If you use it now, you will not be able to injure me in my peak state. Whoosh! Who knew? Xiaoqun ignored the Thunder King. Xiaoqun turned around and charged towards where Emperor Forsaken and the two demon monarchs were fighting. The Thunder King frowned and said, "What is he trying to do? A sneak attack? That is impossible. The moment he moves, the two demon monarchs will immediately sense it and flee. Could it be the state of cycle, reversing time and space? The two are already dead. If he wants to reverse time and space, he is simply going against the heavens. The price he will have to pay will be unimaginable. Furthermore, if he manages to save them, he will suffer the wrath of heaven. This is already changing fate. During the immortal epoch, even an immortal lord would not dare to use it casually. That's fine. As long as he really saves the two of them, I'll give him a fatal blow the moment he returns to reality." The Thunder King quickly made up his mind. Murderous intent flashed in his eyes as the black lightning above his head quickly accumulated. "Ao Jiao!" Xiaoqun shouted and drew the lunar shadow saber at lightning speed. Xiaoqun used his full power in this saber strike. In his mind, the reincarnation heart shone brightly. The Thunder King had guessed correctly. Xiaoqun wanted to reverse time and space. He wanted to defy the heavens and change his fate. When he turned around and swung his saber, Xiaoqun met with a startling resistance. However, he knew that when he traveled to the past and returned, he would face even more terrifying resistance. But this time, just this time, Xiaoqun was really unwilling. Pooch! A light flashed. Xiaoqun, who had exhausted half of his veritable essence energy, finally took that difficult step and saw Diwuk. Unfortunately, what Xiaoqun saw was Diwuk, who had already punched. Xiaoqun had exhausted his full power to reverse time and space, but he was still too late. "Diwuk, why?" Xiaoqun asked, his body trembling slightly. Diwuk's entire body turned scarlet. His skin cracked, and he was in unbearable pain. Tears flickered in the corners of his eyes. Those were not tears of pain, but a form of relief. Xiaoqun's heart had withered long ago when the divine daughter, Tianyushi, died from the rebound of her cultivation technique, because she wanted to help him deal with Xiaoqun. Diwuk looked at Xiaoqun. At first, he felt surprised. Then he recalled Xiaoqun's martial technique and understood. "Reverse time and space? I didn't expect that you would come for me. Let me ask you, can this fist of mine, this peak fist of mine, defeat you?" Xiaoqun nodded silently. "It can." A smile appeared on Diwuk's face. Then his body suddenly exploded. In the end, the past did not change. Whoosh! There was an explosion, and time and space turned upside down. Xiao Chun returned to reality before he drew his lunar shadow saber. Xiao Chun turned around and swung his saber, blocking the Thunder King's attack, which he had stored up power for. Xiao Chun, who had failed to change his fate, did not have to pay a huge price. Dark Church's Churchmaster, I will definitely kill you. I definitely will. Xiao Chun burned with rage, his murderous intent surging into the sky. The Thunder King smiled and said, "Unfortunately, rage cannot kill." This time, the two exchanged moves at lightning speed. They no longer probed each other but made their move. Kill. The heaven-abandoning god monarch, who had witnessed Diwuk's death, roared ferociously. The divine kingdom spun, and his body swelled up again. Boundless divine light descended from Emperor Forsaken's body, as he calmly blocked the attacks of the Earth Demon Monarch and the Shadow Demon Monarch. Despite his rage, Emperor Forsaken did not lose his rationality. He swept his gaze across the battlefield, taking in all the battles before him. Then he continuously attacked, blocking the Earth Demon Monarch and the Shadow Demon Monarch. Giant fingers shrouded in divine light descended from the sky. Every time these fingers descended, they killed a large group of demon cultivators. The deaths of Diwuk and Yin Shursen finally brought about the arrival of primes. Immediately, the Kunlun realm's camp heaved a sigh of relief. Several demonic world cultivators, who had already charged up the mountain, were forced back. They suffered heavy casualties, and the situation eased up slightly. Lords of the Corpse God Palace, come to me and charge. Diwuk's death made Xingju grieve. His eyes turned bloodshot as he charged at the Iron Demon, the most troublesome demon of the demon race. The surviving corpse race cultivators gritted their teeth and roared. Many clones charged at Xingju. Thunder and Lightning Palace disciples, are there any of you still alive? Let out a roar and charge with me. Diwuk and Yen Shursan, two outstanding talents, fought with their lives in exchange for a demon monarch's head. And Juanqi felt an indescribable pain in his heart, as he shouted somewhat crazily. First senior brother, I Tang Meng am still alive. First senior brother, I Feng Xian am still alive. The many Thunder and Lightning Palace disciples called out from a distance. They cultivated lightning-attributed cultivation techniques, and were full of vigor. Even though they were severely injured, their voices were still like thunder. Disciples of the Divine Martial Gate, Phoenix's Passion Palace and White Emperor City gather. I Feng Wuji am still alive. Don't let the demons kill you. The only remaining disciple of the three holy masters, Feng Wuji, roared, prompting the disciples of the three holy masters to call out in response. Dragon's Gate's bladesmen heed my command. Form the Yin-Yang Saber formation and charge out. Roger. Halfway up the mountain, Emochin shouted, and the many Dragon's Gate disciples quickly gathered. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. The 2,000 Dragon's Gate elite bladesmen formed the formation, and the Yin-Yang Saber formation quickly formed. This was the formation that Xiao Chun taught them. This was the first time they executed it in actual combat. A huge formation diagram appeared under their feet. The Taiji diagram spun, and the 2,000 bladesmen formed two dragons, one bright and one dark. Immediately, blood and flesh flew everywhere. Countless saber lights chopped countless demon cultivators into a mangled mess. Unable to dodge, they all fled down the mountain. What a strong saber formation. It's the Dragon's Gates people. This seems to be the saber formation that the Blue Dragon King once used. How ferocious. The Yin-Yang saber formation was like two saber dragons, carrying countless saber lights. Together with the Taiji diagram, it was simply unstoppable. Soon, the saber dragons charged to the very front, clashing with the fatigued corpse race cultivators. The sharp saber lights were unparalleled. Even the iron demons cried out in pain. Emochin felt gratified. However, she also felt it was unfortunate, as Xiao Chun had not comprehended the stronger 4-division saber formation yet. Otherwise it would be even stronger. Kim Taeho held the coffin lid in his hand. His plump body moved nimbly through the army of demon cultivators. He did not make many moves. However, every time he did, a demon cultivator would die. After all, the coffin lid in his hand was the one used to bury the Tianwu emperor. Now that his cultivation had increased, he could bring out its might even more. Gong Yongyu held a staff, looking boundlessly tyrannical. When he swung it down, even the strong iron demon would be knocked back. Xianyuan Zhantian possessed the sovereign war body. His strong aura made him the most dazzling of the Dragon's Gate's outstanding talents. When the heavenly war halberd struck at full power, even the iron demon with astonishing defense would be chopped in half. This was horrifying. When the Dragon's Gate erupted with full power, it led this wave of counterattacks. Many outstanding talents stepped forward at this crucial moment, gathering the cultivators of their respective factions and forming a flood. Using this rare opportunity, they finally managed to truly block the demon army charging up the mountain with a ferocious aura. A ghostly black cloud drifted over from the distance like a sharp knife stabbing into the sky. Everywhere it passed, demon cultivators fell from the sky. It's the ghost domain. The ghost race's reinforcements have arrived. When everyone saw clearly, they all revealed joyful expressions. At this crucial moment, reinforcements arrived. This was simply too inspiring. Ghost Mother Sun Shi finally unified the ghost race's forces. She led the strong cultivators of the Spirit Palace and tore a hole in the sky, disrupting the demonic beast army. The overbearing and overwhelming aura of the demons finally crumbled. The Kunlun realm had passed the first wave of its most difficult test. From the very start, the demon experts had an advantage in numbers, pushing the Kunlun realm into an unstoppable state. Many outstanding talents died in battle. The scene of them dying together with the enemy still could not salvage the situation. Instead, the demons continuously increased their advantage. They even charged up Kunlun Mountain and nearly reached the heavenly dew divine spring. Fortunately, at the crucial moment, Di Wuk and Yin Shursan fought with their lives on the line, salvaging the situation and returning the battle to a stalemate. That was right. Even though a demon monarch died, the strongest demon monarch, the situation did not turn around completely. There were simply too many superior-grade sovereign personages of the demonic world. The demonic beast army was even more vast and boundless. It was already not easy for the Kunlun realm to fight to such an extent. Originally, the many demon monarchs thought that they could easily crush the Kunlun realm. Who knew? The price they paid was far greater than the Kunlun realms. Chapter 1532. The battle entered a stalemate once more. Although the demonic world held the advantage, they no longer dared to casually launch an all-out attack. The defeat of the previous round showed the demonic world the strength of the united Kunlun realm. After changing their strategy, the demonic world prepared to fight steadily. With their advantage in numbers and superior-grade sovereign personages, the Kunlun realm would eventually be exhausted to death. The stalemate tested the will and perseverance of the demonic world. After a night, it was now noon. The blazing sun hung high in the sky, sending scorching sunlight down. Blood flowed like rivers for 500 kilometers around. Corpses piled up. Many horrifying corpses piled up like small hills. This tragic scene was like hell on earth, a ghastly sight. After fighting for so long, many people started to feel mentally fatigued. Their bodies were tired, their minds were in pain, and their hearts were in even more pain. Endless sorrow, massacre, and despair mixed with an intense stench of blood lingered in every corner of the world. Xiaochun, you are still too inexperienced. I only need to delay you. The Kunlun realm will definitely lose this battle. The outcome was already decided long ago. From the start to the end, the Thunder King had not revealed his full strength, appearing to be at ease. The Thunder King, who had never been distracted in a huge battle, appeared to be in a much better state than Xiaochun. For the sake of Di Wuk and Yin Shursan, Xiaochun had used deities descending and the state of cycle. However, they had not managed to cause any significant damage. He had even fallen into a passive state. Xiaochun felt somewhat vexed. Up until now, he had not found the other party's weakness, bottom line, or upper limit. As a result, Xiaochun did not dare to go all out. He feared that after he ran out of energy, the other party would counterattack and catch him off guard. Ao Jiao back then, when Senior Sangmu fought him, did he really not lose to him in one move? Xiaochen calmly asked Ao Jiao, unperturbed by the Thunder King's words. He wanted to see if he could gain some experience. No matter what, this was the second time Xiaochen fought the Thunder King with the Lunar Shadow Saber. She should be able to give him some pointers. Yes, he did lose to him in one move. But now that I think about it, he must have been hiding his strength back then. He didn't dare to use his demonic energy recklessly for fear of exposing his identity. His weakness is that his moves are conservative. To put it nicely, it sounds heavy and steady, but in reality, it's just that he's conservative. He won't take risks easily. On the other hand, Sangmu showed off his abilities and dared to fight, forcing him to be unprepared. If it wasn't for the fact that Sangmu ran out of energy, it would be hard to say who would win. Of course, this is under the premise that he doesn't use demonic chi or the nether sex martial techniques. I don't know if he'll still be like this after 10,000 years. It took a long time to describe, but in truth, the two of them were connected in their minds. The message they conveyed was completed in a single breath of time. An idea flashed through Xiaochen's mind when he heard this. He was afraid of getting hurt. That's right, he didn't dare to go all out because he couldn't afford to. His physical body was his weakness. After living for such a long time, he was unable to increase his cultivation level. His physical body was already past its prime. How could his physical body compare to the hot-blooded Thunder King Sangmu's? Not to mention the current Xiaochen. If Xiaochen could recover from the same injuries in 15 minutes, the other party would need to spend at least twice as much time. Ao Jiao, thank you. I know how to deal with him now. A sharp light flashed in Xiaochen's eyes. Then his aura suddenly changed, becoming like a sharp blade shining with a cold light. Haha, you want to go all out now? It looks like your energy is about to run out. In the end, you are still too inexperienced. The Thunder King narrowed his eyes. The experienced him quickly sensed that Xiaochen was different. That's right. I do want to go all out, because the thing you can't afford to go all out is your life. The Thunder King's expression changed as if he thought of something. However, Xiaochen did not give the Thunder King any time to think. He snorted coldly and instantly executed the flawless saber technique's heartbreaking stance. Xiaochen's heart shattered and a crack opened. Intense pain spread throughout his body, bursting forth with his boundless potential. Flawless saber technique, heartbreaking stance. To shatter the enemy's heart, shatter one's own heart first. The pain reached its peak, imprinted in one's bones and heart. Whoosh! A saber light flashed as Xiaochen ruthlessly chopped down with the heartbreaking stance. The Thunder King caught it. At first, he did not find anything special about it. However, in the next moment, a saber light pierced through Xiaochen's heart, causing black blood to spurt out. Xiaochen's complexion immediately paled, and blood leaked out of a corner of his lips. You are seeking death. Black Lotus heart purging chop. The Thunder King raged. A black lotus flower appeared under his feet, and black petals flew in the air. Each lotus flower contained dense demonic chi. As the petals flew, they were as heavy as mountains. The black lotus flowers in the air gathered into a sword. Then, following the Thunder King, they stabbed at Xiaochen. Dang! Xiaochen held his sword horizontally across his chest, blocking this sword strike. However, he could not block the huge force. He vomited a mouthful of blood and moved back 100 steps. Humph! Since you want to die so quickly, don't blame me for being merciless. The injury on Xiaochen's chest contained the power of the Saber Dao. He could not heal it, and the pain lingered, enraging the Thunder King. Xiaochen wiped off the blood at the corner of his lips. However, he revealed a smile on his face. After fighting for so long, this was the first time he saw the other party lose his composure and get angry. It looked like his guess was right. The Kunlun realm could still be saved. Xiaochen said coldly, "Stop putting on airs. Let's see who is afraid of whom. I will fight you to the death." One flower, one world, one leaf, one Bodhi, lightning hell. The Thunder King seemed to be really anxious. He formed hand seals, and countless black lotus flowers flew out of his body. They were like strong winds. filling the surrounding 5 kilometers with black lotus petals. The thousands upon thousands of black lotus flowers all had black lightning surrounding them. The electricity connected and formed a lightning domain. However, this lightning domain was different from ordinary domains. The lotus flowers also contained many negative emotions, causing all sorts of hellish illusions to appear continuously. Xiao Chen's heart sank. Although this Thunder King could not raise his lightning domain to the Thunder Great Tao, he had taken a different approach, making it no weaker than the complete Thunder Great Tao. Flawless Saber Tao. Flawless Saber Tao. Flawless Saber Domain. In this lightning hell, Xiao Chen felt an extremely strong pressure. It was like the other party was the ruler of this world. Xiao Chen brandished his saber, and Great Tao energy spread out along with the saber light, merging the saber domain and the saber Tao energy. This formed a brand new flawless saber domain to resist the Thunder King's lightning hell. Boom. Boom. The two different domains layered over each other, clashing endlessly. Intense explosions rang out endlessly. Soaring clouds in the 9 heavens. Soaring moon descends. Xiao Chen executed the flawless saber techniques soaring cloud stance and soaring sky stance at the same time. His figure soared into the sky, and a bright moon that looked like a real moon descended on the Thunder King. Bang! The two moves merged into one, and their might immediately increased explosively. The Thunder King clashed head-on with this move, finding it somewhat strenuous. However, he still managed to counterattack when Xiao Chen exhausted his moves. Lightning Hell, Night Parade of 100 Ghosts. The various negative emotions coalesced into many malicious ghosts flickering with black electricity. They swept out like the autumn wind sweeping away fallen leaves. Crackling electricity came from Xiao Chen's body. Similarly, loud explosions came from his sea of consciousness. This move not only injured Xiao Chen's physical body, but also his mind. Xiao Chen laughed loudly, not showing any fear. His sharpness did not diminish as he continued to charge at the Thunder King. In less than 100 moves, the effects became apparent. The Thunder King's movements clearly slowed. Wounds covered Xiao Chen's body, and blood flowed under his black robes. Thunder King, in the end, you are getting old. Xiao Chen possessed the Blue Dragon War body. His injuries healed very quickly, much better than the Thunder King's. The Thunder King smiled coldly. Interesting. Do you not know that although the surging river looks ferocious like a dragon, it still has to yield before the sea? That is because the dragon is not ferocious enough, not mighty enough. Xiao Chen shouted and charged over again. This startled the Thunder King, and some anxiety appeared in his eyes. The demonic god's sacrifice was still some time away from completion. If he really died here, it might be over for him. Just as the Thunder King felt somewhat anxious, the situation on the battlefield changed. Statues as large as mountains appeared behind the demons, casting large shadows. The 17 immortal statues had finished repairing themselves, and were charging over. Upon seeing this scene, the Thunder King guffawed. Xiao Chen, the heavens want you dead, and the Tao will not tolerate you. You no longer have a chance. How can this be? Despair rose in Xiao Chen's heart. The flame of hope that had just ignited was instantly extinguished. Something's not right. Suddenly, Xiao Chen discovered that the immortal statues had started killing the demons and demonic beasts from behind. Fellow Taoists of the Kunlun realm, do not panic. The Penglai Sea is here to help. The immortal statues are already under the complete control of immortal venerate Yin Chun. The 17 immortal statues spoke at the same time. Their voices shook the clouds and reverberated in all directions. Everyone on the battlefield heard them clearly. The ups and downs of life were nothing more than this. Xiao Chen shouted. Dark Church Master, what other tricks do you have? Your end is here. Chapter 1533. Saber light danced in the air, supported by great Tao energy. The white-clad Xiao Chen turned into a killing god. None of the demonic beasts or demon cultivators in his way could last even one exchange. The Kunlun realm banner fluttered in the wind behind Xiao Chen, encouraging all the Kunlun realm cultivators still fighting. Leng Yu. Xiao Chen snorted coldly. Suddenly, his right hand grabbed the chain, and 10,000 dragon force materialized into an ancient dragon cauldron. Many chains coiled around Xiao Chen's physical body. Xiao Chen frowned slightly. This was a great opportunity, but he let the Thunder King go for nothing. Fighting with his life on the line, the Thunder King clearly could not last for long. Now that he had a chance to catch his breath, it would be harder to kill the other party later. A skinny and aged figure flew over from beside Immortal Venerate Yin Chun. He showed a mocking smile as he looked at the treasure master. Could it be that he was not even afraid of death? Everyone persevere. Victory will come soon. In the distance, the Thunder King rushed to the rear of the demonic world in rage. Immortal Venerate Yin Chun. The Thunder King could no longer care about fighting with Xiao Chun. He scattered the thunder hell and quickly flew towards the 17 immortal statues. Did you not notice that all 18 demon monarchs are here except one? Xing Wang was frightened out of his wits. He finally understood why the treasure master said that he was not a match for Xiao Chun back then. A man can be merciful but not mindful. Some people are merciful but never mindful. Actually, they are the most heartless. Some people are merciless but always mindful. While they seem heartless, they are actually the most sentimental. The 17 immortal statues shattered together with Yin Chun. However, the magic treasures in their hands radiated boundless immortal might as they charged at the treasure master. The treasure master gently waved his hand, and the lightning restriction in Immortal Venerate Yin Chen's body instantly exploded. Electric light flashed at the treasure master's chest. His yuanying exploded first. Then his physical body gave off a bright electric light and turned into ashes. However, before he died, Immortal Venerate Yin Chen finally completed his final hand seal. Xiao Chen spread his arms and landed firmly, pointing his saber at the treasure master. Courting death. He knew that even with 17 immortal statues, his chances of victory against the treasure master were not high. More importantly, the treasure master had defeated the 3 immortal venerates long ago, leaving restrictions in their bodies. If King Xing were to deal with Xiao Chen alone, his fate would probably be even worse. So. The treasure master was not surprised that the other party could control the immortal statues. The puppet pearl was a magic treasure used by immortal cultivators in the first place. The immortal statues were also repaired and strengthened by the immortal cultivators of the Prenglai Sea. Punisher King loosened his right hand and Punisher King's axe tore through space and appeared above Xiao Chen's head, giving off a terrifying aura as it tried to split Xiao Chen in half. Punisher King held the chain in his right hand and started to slowly spin it. The Punisher King axe on the chain spun like the wind, causing countless clouds to collide and bolts of lightning to descend. Xiao. The demonic pattern chains fell off, and Xiao Chen ignored them, continuing to chase after the treasure master. With just this one exchange, Xiao Chen could only see the blurry figure of the Thunder King in the distance. Blue Dragon King, it turns out that you are only SSO. Punisher King caught Xiao Chen off guard and succeeded in one move. He could not help laughing loudly. After being locked down by my demonic pattern chains, no matter how powerful you are, you will not be able to struggle free. This is the price of your carelessness. One cauldron force burst out. Before Punisher King could react, he got pulled into the air. Cassier. A saber light flew out, looking like it would hack Punisher King in half. Fortunately, the sudden betrayal of the 17 immortal statues was of great benefit to the Kunlun realm. Perhaps the remaining cultivators were already fatigued. They were all relying on their wills and faith to persevere. Everyone encouraged each other and continued the bloody battle. Punisher King gave a loud order, and countless demonic beasts roared ferociously, charging at Xiao Chen from all directions. The treasure master looked coldly at Immortal Venerate Yin Chun, who was controlling the 17 immortal statues, and revealed a murderous intent. As for the Blue Dragon King Xiao Chun, he chased after the treasure master. No one could stop him. The treasure master's gaze sank as he asked, "Are you here to seek death?" Ha ha ha. I have not persevered until now in vain. This old man must live on. I must see all the demons die. Punisher King, block him for me. The Thunder King ignored the treasure master. He directly got Punisher King, one of the 2 vice church masters fighting with the Kunlun Palace's palace master, to come out and block Xiaoqin. The Thunder King needed to quickly deal with this problem. Otherwise, the situation of the entire battlefield would change. Wounds covered the treasure master's body. Saber scars appeared, making him even uglier. However, he did not panic as he looked at Xiaoqin. The difference in strength was too great. Unless the 18 demon monarchs worked together to block him, no one could stop him. The former top bladesman of the Tianwu domain's southern region, Feng Xingxing, said somewhat fatigued when he saw this scene. Punisher King and Fa Wang, these two peak primes, managed to fight to a draw. Now that one of them withdrew, Fa Wang's situation was not good. You want to leave? It's not that simple. The Thunder King felt somewhat surprised when he saw the 17 immortal statues massacring the demonic world cultivators and demonic beast kings. You are already at the end of your rope. Quickly stop. I believe that the people of the Kunlun realm will let you die more easily. Xie Changtian smiled and said, That's right. I'm here to see how you die. Even in your dreams, you would never have imagined that the various races of the Kunlun realm would be so united. All the more, you would never have imagined that the Penglai Sea would betray you. Not everyone can be toyed with in the palm of your hand. The treasure master's indifferent words made Xiaoqin's heart skip a beat, and his entire body trembled slightly. At the crucial moment, Xiaoqin did his best to avoid being struck in a vital spot. However, the saber light still chopped off an arm. Who could have imagined that Punisher King would pull hard on the chain? The Punisher King's axe spun up at a strange angle? Treasure Master, could it be that you still can't see what he is trying to do? The Blue Dragon King chased away the Dark Church's Church Master. Furthermore, with the help of the immortal statues, the Kunlun realm can still be saved. Stop him. Don't let him catch up to the Treasure Master. The careless one was not Xiaoqin but the Treasure Master himself. Is that so? Right now, the Treasure Master had no chance of victory against him. The immortal statues combined with the chaos caused by the demons formed a true counterattack for the first time, forcing the demons into retreat. Church Master, go ahead without worry. I'll stop him. However, the Treasure Master knew that he held the other party's fate and hope. He believed that the other party would not dare to act rashly. The golden Kunlun realm war banner flapped loudly as it flew forward, giving everyone a glimpse of hope. Xiaoqin's figure flashed, dodging the huge axe with a surging aura. Holding up his saber, Xiaoqin wanted to give chase. With the Blue Dragon King around, everything will be fine. Immortal Venerate Yunchen, stop right now. What are you trying to do? Immortal Venerate Yunchen formed hand seals, and the 17 immortal statues gathered together and moved closer to him. At the very least, he had to last until the demonic god arrived. That's right. The martial epoch does not contain immortals. Why should I remain a variable in the world? I'm already tired of it long ago. I might as well let the final inheritance of the immortal Tao do something meaningful. There's hope. Brat, don't get distracted. Xie Changtian, you trash came as well, the Treasure Master said coldly with a frown. The two had once fought in the air. Xingwang had suffered a small loss. Now they were officially fighting. Unexpectedly, he truly did not expect the other party to betray him. Xingwang knew that the situation was grim, so he immediately moved to block Xiaoqin. Xingwang could not stop Xingwang in time. He could only watch as Immortal Venerate Yunchen died. The 17 immortal magic treasures struck the Treasure Master at the same time. This was the Treasure Master's trump card, a trump card that could decide the outcome of the battlefield. Why did it become someone else's in the blink of an eye? What's going on? These were internal injuries from clashing with the Iron Demon. Even if the Treasure Master lived, it would be difficult to get rid of them completely. The Penglai Immortal Sect led the 17 immortal statues to suddenly charge over, throwing the demonic world's rear into chaos. This was simply like a dream. The Treasure Master, who was already severely injured in the first place, was severely injured on the spot. He vomited a large mouthful of black blood. His hair was disheveled, and he was in a sorry state. Immortal Venerate Yunchen nodded and said, I am different from my two senior brothers. They did their best to continue the inheritance. However, in my opinion, They are just struggling at death's door. Immortal cultivators are trapped in a place like a cage. There is no goal or freedom. There is no point in living like this. The treasure master did not care about Xie Changtian's words at all. You are just an ant. Scram further away. Xiao Chen frowned and said, Get your people to stop. Otherwise, I will kill you immediately. The treasure master smiled faintly and looked at Xiao Chen. Are you the former or the latter? Whoosh, whoosh. The treasure master flicked Xie Changtian away with a finger, but did not kill him. It seemed that he really looked down on the other party. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. The Xingtian's personal disciple, Xingju, laughed wantonly. His entire body was covered in injuries, and his internal bones were all shattered. Xiao Chen, who had been chasing all the way, happened to see the scene of immortal venerate Yin Chen dying, and the 17 magic treasures working together to attack the treasure master. In that case, you can go and die. The treasure master looked at immortal venerate Yin Chen seriously and said, Yin Chen, you have to think this through. You know that the Prunglai Sea's immortal energy is running out. All the immortal cultivators will die. Only I can save them. Only I can help you improve your strength. Chapter 1534. Xiao Chen's face sank as he looked at the treasure master. What did you do to Leng Yu? The treasure master guffawed when he heard that. It looks like you are the latter. Ha ha ha. You are much weaker than the Qing Emperor. If it was the Qing Emperor of the past, he wouldn't have said a single word to me. He would have directly chopped me down with his saber. In a cold voice, Xiao Chen said, I am indeed not Qing Emperor. I am me. You don't need to compare me with anyone. I just need to be honest with myself. Cut the crap. What did you do to Leng Yu? The treasure master narrowed his eyes and said indifferently, Put away your saber and I'll tell you. Jiao. Murderous intent flashed in Xiao Chen's eyes as he hacked down with his saber. First, he had exchanged a life for a life with Xiao Chen, which had caused him serious injuries. Then, he had been attacked by 17 immortal treasures at the same time. If he took another blow from Xiao Chen, he would lose at least half his life, and he would no longer be able to fight. The treasure master's expression changed slightly as he quickly retreated. Right now, he clearly did not have the courage to take on Xiao Chen's saber. It seems that you really don't care about her life or death. Ha ha ha, Xiao Chen, it turns out that I was wrong about you. You actually used this as a backup. As the treasure master retreated, he laughed and observed Xiao Chen's expression. If people had feelings, they would definitely have weaknesses. Xiao Chen was one of them. Did Xiao Chen care about Leng Yu's life? Of course Xiao Chen cared. However, compared to the entire Kunlun realm, compared to the countless cultivators who sacrificed their lives for the Kunlun realm, how should he choose? If possible, Xiao Chen would naturally choose the best of both worlds. Leng Yu would not have to die, and the Kunlun realm could survive the demonic calamity. But if you had to choose one, which one would you choose? Xiao Chen didn't know that most of the time, he always gave people the impression that he was decisive, cold, and unapproachable. But who could understand his heart? Who knew that under this appearance, he also had a gentle heart? Ha ha ha, Xiao Chen, since that's the case, I'll leave it to you. Seeing that there was no way to dodge, Xiao Chen's saber technique sealed off Xiao Chen's paths of retreat and evasion. The treasure master waved his sleeves ferociously, and he suddenly picked up a figure. When Xiao Chen saw who it was, his expression froze, and he quickly withdrew his saber move. Xiao. The boundless saber light entered Xiao Chen's body, and his figure flashed as he moved back 100 steps. This scene was within the treasure master's expectations. He could tell that although Xiao Chen's saber technique was ruthless, it was not as simple as it seemed. However, amidst the viciousness, there was always a trace of hesitation. If there really wasn't any hesitation, it would have struck him long ago instead of waiting until now. It seems to be working. What if he really stops? The treasure master hid behind Leng Yu and seemed to be speaking to her. He continued, It was not in vain that I wasted a spatial secret treasure to seal you for so long. Ha ha ha. Let's test the effect again. So. The treasure master roared ferociously as he carried Leng Yu's body, brandishing her like a weapon as he charged at Xiao Chen. Xiao Chen's expression turned sullen as he retreated again and again, not daring to make a move. Such a scene attracted the attention of many people, making them anxious. This was such a great opportunity, yet he let it go. What was wrong with Xiao Chen? After a while, Xiao Chen sheathed his saber and looked at the treasure master. Although he knew that he had to chop down this time, he really could not do it. But he really couldn't do it. He clearly knew many principles, but he still couldn't do it. No one could understand the pain in the Blue Dragon King's heart at this moment. A water screen in the Kunlun Mountains Blue Dragon Palace showed everything that happened to Xiao Chen. When the old dragon horse, the black-clad old man, and the others saw this scene, they all felt very conflicted. Fortunately, I did not chop down like this. Otherwise, I would have been crippled for life. The old dragon horse said with lingering fear in its heart. The old dragon horse said with lingering fear in its heart. Personally killing the person it loved would put it under immense psychological pressure. In the future, there would only be one outcome, and that would be the same as the Qing Emperor, falling into the demonic path. However, if Xiao Chen had not swung his saber, there would have been even more trouble. The outstanding talents that sacrificed themselves for the Kunlun realm also made Xiao Chen blame himself. This child really has it tough. At such a young age, he has to bear the pressure of an entire world. Although he was born in an abandoned land, his future accomplishments will definitely surpass those demonic geniuses and outstanding talents outside. The young woman's heart ached for Xiao Chen. Her eyes were a little red as she spoke softly. Unfortunately, due to the rules of this world, we are unable to leave. Otherwise, we wouldn't have to be so conflicted. Let's keep watching. Maybe there will be a turn for the better. The old dragon horse said in a deep voice. In the scene, Xiao Chen sheathed his saber and looked at the treasure master. He had already slowly calmed down, no longer as conflicted as before. As the treasure master held up Leng Yu, he narrowed his eyes and looked at Xiao Chen. I have always taken everything into account. How can I lose? Since you have sheathed your saber, then let's have a proper talk. I'll let her off, but you have to promise not to attack the demons. Xiao Chen smiled. However, this smile was cold and emotionless, without any warmth at all. It was like it was even more bone-piercing than the chilly wind of a winter night. Leng Yu, who was held in the treasure master's hand, had messy hair and a pale complexion. Her charming face appeared somewhat miserable. However, Leng Yu stubbornly did not shed a single tear. She only raised her head to look at Xiao Chen. The two's gazes met. Many things were said without needing to be said. Do it then. My life is already worth it if you are willing to sheath your saber for me. Leng Yu suddenly said as she looked at Xiao Chen. Leng Yu's heart ached, not because of her situation but because of Xiao Chen. She felt warmth in her heart, all for the moment when Xiao Chen sheathed his saber. At that moment, time and space froze. That white figure would forever remain fixed in her mind. Those who practiced charm arts avoided falling in love with someone the most. However, if there was a next life, she was willing to fall in love with someone again. Draw your saber. Not for the Kunlun realm, not for anyone in this world. Draw your saber only for me. Leng Yu revealed a smile as she looked seriously at Xiao Chen. This saber strike is only for you. Whoosh. A saber light flashed as Xiao Chen swung his saber. In the next moment, Leng Yu's head flew into the air. It could be seen that Leng Yu still had a smile on her face. She did not have any regrets, as that saber strike was what she sought. Xiao Chen sent out a saber light for her alone. Blood spurted out, splattering the treasure master's face. This made his ugly face look even more disgusting and disgusting. Ew. The treasure master was startled. He had not expected Xiao Chen, who had already stopped, to really send out this saber strike. The treasure master let go of Leng Yu's headless body and rushed back. Clang. Xiao Chen sheathed his saber and stabbed it into the ground. His expression turned extremely sullen as he chased after the treasure master step by step. The instant Xiao Chen left, Ao Jiao flew out of the lunar shadow saber and quickly looked around. When the treasure master sensed Xiao Chen's aura chasing after him, he was startled. He shouted, "Stop him! Stop him!" However, no one could stop Xiao Chen. Every time he punched, a large number of demon corpses would fall to the ground. Xiao Chen's fist light contained saber energy. The demon cultivators that got struck all died miserable deaths. Xiao Chen did not move very fast, but he was getting closer to the treasure master. Xiao Chen was like a killing god. In the end, no one dared to block Xiao Chen. Bang! During the final distance, Xiao Chen locked on to the treasure master's figure. Then he soared into the air and kicked. The blue dragon divine wings on Xiao Chen's back spread open, and his speed doubled, instantly catching up to the treasure master. This kick ruthlessly kicked the treasure master into the ground. The treasure master vomited a mouthful of blood as he lay on the ground. As he looked at the sullen Xiao Chen, he said, "Even if you kill me, you will not be able to save the entire Kunlun realm. After the demonic god descends, all your efforts." Boom! Without giving the treasure master a chance to speak, Xiao Chen ruthlessly stomped on the treasure master's head, crushing it into mush. You're tuning in to the Li Mei's Wuxia Whispers YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.